I still can't believe that. I believe Dion was like, still, the idea that he that was crazy. Yeah, right. Being your teacher. Right, you're going to get me better than that. That's true, you're right. This case is like,
yeah, take a look and see if y'all can see him when he walks in with the dog. Let's see if we could see him walking with the dog. Because when I was at court, you could see him walking with the dog, but you probably won't be able to see the dog on this.
I'm Tony Light with WSB.
yes, sir.
We're going to be actually doing the hookup for the main trial.
Yes, sir.
You guys going to be a part of us being, being cool and stuff. So only thing I think we're going to need is a way to hook into the system. See, right now I'm just hooked on the speaker. So that's how I just use it.
Well, so, I really talked with our FGTV team. Yeah. So we had a technology walkthrough. We can patch even sound out from the auxiliary output.
Exactly what I was
for you. And we plan to do that for the trial.
Okay, yes, exactly.
But for today,
Oh no, this is fine. This been working all week fine.
okay.
But I mean, if it's going to be a little bit more permanent, I just didn't. I
No,
just want to make sure we got
get
it.
patch
There you go. That's exactly what I wanted. Oh, thank you, brother.
Okay, y'all. They're trying to get these mic situations up. Can y'all hear me? Is there an echo? Let me know if how y'all hear me. Is there an echo? You guys hear me well? Hey, Nosy Rosie. Kimmy is back. Yeah, we're back like we never left. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk while we see this stuff going on here. So we're gonna I'll make this little screen a little bit smaller here, so we can talk and you can hear me without okay. We missed you guys this morning. We were on doing our affirmation and we did prayer. Wow, they sent you notification for this, but did not send you notification for a prayer? Oh my God, these people are so weird.
I know. Well, actually, you're the best one. Yes.
Hey, second grandma. Trissy. You didn't get, oh my gosh. We did prayer this morning. Hey, Marietta. We did prayer this morning. Okay, now you see over there in that corner, way far over there, you see that computer, you see those 4 squares and stuff. This is where they get to see all the people that is in the courtroom. Because we're in the courtroom. When I was in there, I was in the courtroom upstairs, right? And then they can see us. Look all the way at that guy's table. You see the computer, that computer over there, right across there. Yeah, they are. They are ridiculous. I did tell them I was going to be there this morning, but it's yucky outside here. It's raining, it's cold, it's yucky. I didn't want to go out there. Okay, I want to watch when the judge come in because he comes in with that dog. I want to see if y'all see it coming in with the dog. He had a pit bull, a black and white pit bull he comes in with. He has him on a leash. Yeah, I gotta get my butt out there and go to work. They be out so late, then they come in early in the morning.
I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me. So, Adrian Love, that location? She's still. She's the lead counsel. Okay, y'all just here. Yeah. Okay, whatever that means. I mean, that is the current situation. Adrian and Simone are lead counsel. We're here. He is no longer with the office. Adrian and Simone are lead counsel on the trial. We're here right now.
When we're in the court, right? When we come into the building, we have to have on a mask, right? But if you notice, nobody has on a mask in there. Good morning, Jason. Good morning. I hope everyone is blessed in the name of God. It is so peaceful over here. Oh, thank you, Jason. You missed our prayer this morning. We do affirmations early in the morning. It's I hope you subscribe and get on here. We haven't been getting our notification, and I don't know why, but I'm gonna have to try to get my butt up early enough in the mornings to do these affirmations at a set time, so I know I'll be here. So I'm gonna push for like about 7:30 in the morning. I must try to push for 7:30 every morning of doing these affirmations. That in that case, you'll know I'm on regardless. So tomorrow I'm gonna push for 7:30, and if you guys miss it, you can always play the replay. Okay. Okay, they just put in a docket for the me Offset's person that they accuse of the murder. They changed they're going for his a reduction of his bond because right now his bond is $2 million and they're trying to reduce it to 100,000. So that would only have to pay 10,000, I guess, right? Oh, you've been watching. Oh, okay. Thank you, Jason. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I'm feeling pretty good today. Amen. I'm trying to. Oh, look how tall that guy is, y'all. That attorney. Look how tall he is. Look at it. Look at him standing next to the other people. Look how tall he is. Look, that one right there, y'all. Look how tall he is. Oh, Lord, that guy is tall. Make the other ones look like little midgets. Who's that first witness right there? The guy right there. Okay, let's see. Let's see the people coming in. All right, they tell the council get in place. See the camera right there? See out of the room? See the people in the back? This is where I was sitting back there where you could see the family. You see back there, y'all, where the big TV camera is? You see that room? See the one in the middle all the way? See by the guy's face? That's where I was sitting at. See where it looked like somebody have on something red? Look at the box. You know, the top one has the court, second one up the right. Just the first one at the bottom, the middle is where I was sitting at. Looks like nobody's in there except one person with red on. Do y'all see what I'm talking about? Let me make it bigger. Hold on. Okay, yeah, you see what I'm talking about? You see where the lady's sitting back there? That's where I was at.
Okay, good, great deal.
You see it? That's where I was at. That's where they could see the family. So they could see the family in there. You see how it says, so they're gonna have other rooms because if you notice they have it blocked off. You don't see me, I'm not there. I'm in my house. Oh, you don't see me, Trissy. Trissy, that was me yesterday. I was in there yesterday. That's how you can see them. But you see how it is, right? That's how you can see them.
Remember the Jack Boys? Remember that case? Remember the Jack Boys, Michael? We did that. The Jack Boys. I was telling the TV camera guy, we've never done this to this extreme except for the Jack Boys. Remember them? About 2012. Yeah, Jack Boys. He went on like a 3-day killing spree. Oh, really? Yeah. And we had it was like four co-defendants, like 4 of them. We had it in court at the same time. Yeah, it was multiple murder. Yeah, yes sir, Jack Boys. Yeah.
Okay, the guy with the beard there, that's the guy that they were saying did not do too well on the case that he was on. See that one right there, the one smiling with the beard? That is the attorney that they were saying that he didn't do too well in the case that somebody had him on. They were talking upstairs, and I think one of the guards said that was the baby daddy or something like that. No, that's not me, Trissy. Trissy, I'm not there. That the one in the red, that's the one that had those nice boots yesterday. That's one of the family members. She had on nice boots. I saw her boots yesterday. The family's not up there yet. But that's where I was at yesterday. I was on the second row back there. See, all the guys are coming in now. The prisoners are coming in. Detainees. Yeah, he gave him prop because he was trying to advocate for that particular part of the case. But the person who's personally had him on the case, that's what they said that that person got time. I don't know. I don't know what the case was, but I know that what she said. since they got us closer, let's see. There was a whole bunch of them got the chain on. I got the chance to see them. They were all sitting in the back with the chain on. I guess their people didn't they let them get regular clothes. You see them walking right there with the red on? See all of them walking? Look at them. Y'all see him? That guy's short. Look how short he is, y'all. That attorney right there. I want him to move his head because I want to see what family member is up there, so I could go see if she's there. So I can go there and be like, "Oh, you lied to me." Yeah, I need to Shorty Doo-Wop to move his head from that spot over there because I need to see the camera. The one over there by the TV, I need him to move. I need that attorney to move. Get out the way, attorney. Oh, now the officer gonna get in the way. Come on, officer. Oh Lord, look at this, y'all. He must have heard me say something. Oh, he moved. Okay. Y'all, he has to stand there all day. He does not sit down at all. Yeah, I wonder why the one, you know what they said? The colors differentiate the level of the crime. You know what I mean? Lower level has certain color and higher level has a different color. So you have to watch out for what they have on and you have to stay clear of them. That's what I was told. When the more severe crime ones, like the ones that will do something to you, they have to clear the hallway where they coming through. I heard that through a officer. Okay, now I go. There you go. Oh, nice. He goes and stand back there again. Lord have mercy. Why don't he go sit down and be with his client? Yeah, the severity of the crime is based on the color that they have on. Because I just saw somebody have on blue, somebody have on orange. See the orange? See the orange? Oh my God, there now where we can't see now. See the orange, and then you see somebody with blue. Look at that chair. Chair's tore up. Look at that chair's tore up in the top.
As we stated in the hearing yesterday, they were all on the same time. Please don't quote me.
Yeah, let me tell you, Lady Coltrane, I had to read up on them and the music and stuff so I get myself familiarized with who they are and things like that because I don't have a clue. No, that music is not my type of music. You see how the red's going by. So you see orange, blue, and you see red.
We have a process we have to go.
Well, orange, red. What sneakers she has on? Trissy, I don't know. She's trying to be comfortable because she's gonna be there all day.
she have armband, Sarge? She got an armband? She got one? Okay. Okay.
They have to have armband to go in down there. But you know what, Trissy? That's a New York thing. She might be a New Yorker. New Yorkers wear sneakers with their dresses. They do. They don't wear shoes because sneakers are so comfortable. Flats are not comfortable sometimes because flat doesn't give you support for your back. Sneakers do. No, heels is not good for you. Mm-mm. Heels not good for your back. You need something with cushion that will support, like when you step down, boom, boom. She said heels. Okay, the guy is coming in. I don't know about that, Tris. I don't know about no heels. Mm-mm. I don't know. I really have to find the right ones because. You see the dog? See the leash? See the leash? You saw him with the leash? He got a red leash in his hand. You saw that, right? That's the dog. See? You see him with the leash? See? Excuse me. Y'all saw the leash, right? Okay, now when the judge gets in, we got problems. Y'all see that now? Thank you.
Good morning. How you doing?
Thank you. No, Jason, they said that the dog is for the judge to protect the judge. Because remember back in a few years ago, the guy Brian Nichols killed the judge, killed the court reporter, killed a couple of people in the courtroom. Ever since then, they have found ways to protect the judge. That dog is definitely is specifically for the judge. Specifically for the judge, not for those people running away. He's there to protect the judge. He's a service dog. He's a service dog to protect the judge. I learned that yesterday from being there. See what you learn when you be at the place? Hey, Miss B. Yeah, just in case there's an attack on the judge. They're making sure the judge is protected. So I learned that yesterday. Yeah, 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 yeah. I learned that yesterday. Uh, uh, uh. But I'm gonna probably go tomorrow. Let me see. I've got to figure out what they're gonna do. I want to be there when they talk about the guns. The person, the expert on the guns. I want to go there for that. I want to go in person for that to hear that. This trial is supposed to be for at least 6 months. This is gonna be a long behind trial. Yesterday, Mr. Farley's attorney was talking about how um, You know who Farley is? Farley is the light skinned guy. Hey, Daddy Lolo. Farley is the light skinned guy. The light skinned guy that's sitting next to that turn. That's Farley. He he is the one that has all the charges. Remember, let me go back and look at these charges so it could remind you of what people are charged for. With hold on a second. Let's go. I'm gonna open it up and give you guys some reminder. Okay, Farley is the one. He is charged with counts 1, 49, 50, 51, 54. So one is conspiracy to violate racketeering influence and corrupt organization act, right? And he has number 49. 49 is murder. He got the murder charge, right? Then he got number he got 49, he got 50. 50 is participating in a criminal street gang activity, right? That's what he got there. Then he got he got 50 and 54. 51 and 54. We just read 50. 51 is participating in a street gang, and 54 is possession of a firearm during commission of a felony. So that's what he has. So he has all those charges. Yeah, the attorney fees are going to be so expensive. Oh, y'all be expecting some money from Wells Fargo. There you go. Y'all got on a blue suit today. I mean, a black suit today. Look at the ripped up seat they got back there. Now that's Mr. Jackson right there. That's Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, let's see what he is charged with. Jackson. His name is Shannon Jackson. That's his name. The one with the blonde in the bottom of his hair. His name is Shannon Jackson. That is the young man Farley. That's Farley right there. You guys, I'm getting the name. I'm putting the names of the people because you know what I did. I was up there. I was asking questions, so to help us out, so we figure out who's who. So that's Miss Shannon Jackson right there, with the blonde at the bottom of his dreads. Shannon Jackson. And of course, y'all know that's Jeffrey Williams, which is you see the chain that's around his waist. Y'all see the chain that's around his waist? When I'm in the room, you can see all of that because they show a different angle to us. Look at his hand. His hand is all cuffed. can't even scratch his head. His hand is cuffed underneath the table. His hand, look. You see all of those people? Look at that. All the lawyers are sitting next to them while they're at trial. There's some that has blue. There's some that has orange. See that? Sylvia, you coming to Rod's birthday party? No, I'm not going to be there. I come in on the 8th. No, I'm not going to be at the party. Because they consider a RICO. They have so many. They have so many. You see how many policemen they have in that place? Even outside, y'all. Outside, when I first came into the courtroom, the court thing, I saw all those police. They had SWATs and everything out there. And they take your ID when you go in there. You know, with the they take your ID when you go inside, y'all. They keep your ID till you leave the courtroom. It ain't no joke. They know everybody that come through there. Ain't no joke, seriously. And I say, if anybody got any kind of felony or any kind of warrants and stuff, don't go to that court, court, because they will arrest your butt. Because with all that stuff that's going on, now they want to mess up. Look at this, y'all. They want to mess up. Because they're saying this is a big RICO case. They got 28 people that's been charged. Okay, it's stuck. What's going on here? Why it get stuck now when they get ready to talk? Okay, let me go refresh it. Hold on. Because it's going on the other one. Hold on. Hold on a second, y'all. It's stuck right now, y'all. They're not moving. They're about to put the counsels on the record. Hold on. Why is it messing up? I don't know. I don't know why it's messing up. I got it on court TV. Okay.
Let's just see who's here for the time being. Khalif Adams. Good morning, madam.
Khalif Adams.
Durante Beebe.
Okay, Arnold Duke is gone. Damonte Blaylock is going to be next. Damon Blaylock.
Okay, Damon Blaylock.
Jarvis Bradford is supposed to be next.
Attorney Hill, he's in the probation revocation hearing in Gwinnett County. As soon as it's over, he's going to come right down.
Say again.
Okay, why are they messing up now? Come on now. Okay, so he's gonna go to Jarvis. Brad, we did Jarvis. Cobb is next. Justin Cobbs.
Do you know if he's waived his client's presence? Does he give you that particular talk with waive his presence?
No, Your Honor, he hasn't. No.
Do you know if he told you if he filed a conflict letter?
I can find out, Your Honor.
I tell him he needs to be here. Could you be here? And if he didn't file a conflict letter, that's going to be a problem. All right.
Uh-oh.
Jeffrey Williams, good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Adams.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning.
All right.
And to Madam
You said good morning, Jeffrey Williams. You see that, right? And Mr. Adams.
All right. Cordarius Dorsey.
Good morning, also.
Good morning, sir.
Christian Epes, sir. Whatever his name is.
Christian Eppinger.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
You said Javon Fleetwood is next.
All right. Mr. Menendez, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Farley.
Javon Fleetwood.
All right, Mr. Fleetwood. Where's Mr. Fleetwood? Just raise your hand, sir, if you're here.
Present in the back there.
Oh, where?
Present in the back.
All right, thank you, madam.
DeMonte Garlington.
Mr. Garlington is, we are awaiting him. I know where he is at this
Mr.
point in
Greer.
time.
Mr.
All
Greer.
right, Quintavious Greer.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Mormon.
Martavia.
Good morning, madam.
Mr. Greer as well.
Good morning.
Huey is next. Huey is next.
All right, Marquavius Huey.
Good morning, Judge. Matthew Senior and Junior here.
Good morning, gentlemen. All right.
Kendrick is next. Kendrick. DeMonte Kendrick.
All right, DeMonte Kendrick.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, sir.
Kitchen is
All right.
gone. You got Woody Lee.
All right, Denise McMullen.
Oh, McMullen. Oh, he is
Thank
gone.
you, sir.
Mender.
Tinquarius Mender.
Good morning, Your Honor. Nicole Fagan on behalf of Mr. Mender.
You got
Good morning,
Murphy.
Ms. Fagan. And Ms. Fagan, I'd note for the record, you were also present yesterday. What time did you come in yesterday?
Right on time.
Right on time. There you go. So we accounted for you for both days. You get a check mark. That's wonderful. All right.
Murphy is next.
Jaden Myrick. Ms. Bernard, good
Oh,
morning.
Murphy is not on here anymore. Uh-oh. Okay.
All right. Cormerius Nichols.
Nichols next. Ryan is
Good
next.
morning, Mr. Harvey.
I was early both days. Do I get some benefit for that?
Yeah, Mr. Bott said he'll give you, maybe some bagels.
That's good. Okay. It's Hanukkah. We are celebrating. Nicole Westmoreland and Lamar Gardner is also with us.
All right, thank you, sir. Good morning,
Ryan
council.
next. Ryan.
I saw. Listen, I see everybody. Thank you, sir. All right, Radeus Ryan, Mr. Williams.
Sledge is next after that.
Mr. Ryan.
All right, good morning.
Sledge is after
Antonio Sledge.
that. Stevens is after that.
Where's Mr. Sledge?
Judge,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wright is his attorney. He didn't need him for this morning.
That's right. Okay, you are correct about that.
Stillwell is after that. Stevens and Stillwell, aka Jackson.
Trontavia Stevens. Ms. Gladden, good morning, madam. All right, good morning again. All right. Mr. Garlington, good morning, sir. All right.
We're waiting for Stillwell, aka Jackson. got a lot of counts. That's the one with a lot of counts. He's a belt, y'all. He nasty.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Botson, Mr. Short, and good morning, Mr. Stillwell.
So well, okay.
All right.
Tomlin is
Yeah,
next.
I know. You pay. I understand. That's right. Thank you. All right. And Antonio Sumlin. Mr. Hoover, good morning, sir.
Okay, got Jeffrey Williams, which is Young Thug, and Winfrey. You got the good morning to Young Thug already. It might be Winfrey who's gonna say how many counts Young Thug have? He has 2 counts. He has count 1 and count 56. One is
Couple of administrative announcements. From yesterday evening, I've talked to Mr. Kearns, my staff attorney, and we will have the compendium questionnaire emailed out to you by close of business today or shortly thereafter, so that we can have a discussion about those questions Thursday morning. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I would just politely remind everybody. Ask everybody to kind of be here at 9 o'clock. I start by 9:30. We can't start till everybody gets here, so it's as much as you can. Please go ahead and get here timely. And if you run into any problems, as many of you have done, please just contact my chambers. But try as much as you can to be on time, so we can go ahead and get started, as we've got a fair amount of business each day, which we'll try and accomplish. All right. Those are the only 2 administrative announcements I have for this morning. As I understand it, Ms. Rosenwasser, you have Mr. Pineda available. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, we have Mr. Pineda and Investigator Hall. We'll call Investigative first.
Let's call Mr. Pineda first, please. Thank you. All right. Walter Pineda. Mr. Pineda, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
If you would please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, if you would be so kind to turn and face Deputy Talton to be sworn as a witness, please.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to affirm the testimony to give the court the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you? I do. You want to take a seat? State and spell your first and last name.
My name is Walter Pineda. Spells WLTERPINEDA.
Sir, you can sit down, please. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Pineda.
Good morning.
Mr. Pineda, where are you employed, sir?
I'm self-employed and I work for a company called Marathon Photo.
Okay. And just so everyone can hear you in the back, I'm going to need you to lean forward and speak into the mic a little bit, okay?
Okay.
And how long have you been employed in that position?
I've been doing video enhancements for almost 30 years.
Okay. And how were you employed previously?
I was employed by a company called Pinkerton. I went there until the company closed down. And I went independently.
And can you tell us a little bit about your educational background?
I got a degree in professional photography and design.
Okay. In your current position, how did you become involved in that line of work?
The company that I was working for, we were taking care of financial institutions, taking care of people that were doing forgeries and bank robberies. So I was able to be trained by the company to be able to get the images that they needed for the person that committed the crime.
And do you have any relevant training or?
The company trained me at the time.
Okay.
Because back then it was film.
Sure. How do you see it? I'm sorry.
Back then it was film. Then it became video or VHS, CDs, and then hard drives.
Mr. Pineda, how do you stay up to date on your training?
I follow the training on the experience that I have to do the same things on new cases.
Do you have any specific, continuing courses that you take?
Yes, I do. I became a bilingual interpreter in legal, medical, and educational interpretation.
What kind of certifications have you obtained?
That will be the legal and the medical interpretation certification at UGA.
Approximately how many, video enhancements have you performed over the course of your career?
I would say it's thousands.
Your Honor, at this time, I move to admit state's proposed exhibit 10. May I approach the witness?
All right, has that exhibit already been shown to defense counsel?
Yes, it's been served in discovery.
Right in discovery?
Yes, Judge.
All right, you may approach the witness.
Mr. Pineda, do you recognize this document?
I do.
What is it?
My resume?
Has there been any alterations or changes to that document?
No, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I move to admit state's proposed exhibit 10, previously served to defense counsel. Acceptance.
Any objection to states 10? Purpose of the motion. All right, states 10 is admitted.
Mr. Pineda, have you been qualified as an expert before?
I do.
What states?
Georgia,
Okay. And what courts?
state,
About how many times would you say?
over 50 times.
Okay. Can you describe for the court the method video enhancements are performed?
Yes, I do. When I get a video, I check the images, the quality of the video. When I get to find the image that I'm interested in, I will divide the image or the screen in 4 sections, and I will get 1/4 of that section to follow up on the particular image or interest of the image to enhance the video.
Okay. What kind of results can be expected from, enhancing video evidence?
The result could be a better view of the evidence given by the prosecution.
Is this type of video enhancement, like you described, just described for the court, have other law and agencies used this type of service?
Yes, they have.
Just prosecution?
Prosecution, defense attorneys, police departments, GVI, and FBI.
Okay. And as far as you know, is it generally accepted?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Are there any kind of standards or control, how video enhancements are performed?
You have to follow a protocol, meaning when you divide the images in 4 sections, that 4 will have to be get the first image, and if it's too small, then you go to a bigger image. And if he wants it to be bigger, then you go to a bigger image.
Okay. And that standard that you just described for the court, did you follow those procedures?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What did you enhance in this case?
In this particular case, I enhanced 2 videotapes or 2 videos, one from a parking lot area by a car driving by and a gas station.
Okay. And you did use that standard for the enhancements in this?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, we would ask that that the court qualify Mr. Pineda in forensic video analysis based on his experience, his background, training, and the fact that this is well established.
Okay, forensic video analysis?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anybody wish to vote out of the witness?
Yes, I do.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Adams.
Thank you. On behalf of Mr. Williams. Mr. Pineda, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
You can hear me okay?
Yes, I do.
All right. I want to ask you a few questions, please, about the work that you've done and what you just testified to. And if you don't understand the question, please let me know and I'll be happy to rephrase, okay?
I will.
You indicated that you've been qualified as an expert previously
Yes, I have.
in the state courts here in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
And you've been qualified in what field or in what particular category specifically?
Video analysis and video enhancements.
Now, you stated earlier, I want to ask you some questions about the protocol that you referenced. The state asked you whether or not there is a particular protocol that you follow in regards to video enhancement. Could you describe for us what that protocol actually is, please?
The protocol is to follow up the section in which I'm involved to enhance, meaning I have to divide the screen in 4 sections. That 1/4 of the sections, I follow up the same size, the images in which are being involved on the video analysis.
All right. So that's a description apparently of what you actually do in terms of video enhancement.
Yes, it is.
But in terms of the protocol, are those protocols recorded anywhere? They're written protocols that govern exactly how you enhance a
The
video.
protocol is involved in the images given to the prosecution.
Okay.
Every detail is given to them in every folder, tells you a description of what it was done to that particular image.
Okay. So would I be correct in that what you're saying is that when you forward what you consider to be the enhanced video to the prosecution, you have instructions or you're telling them exactly what you did to enhance that video?
I did not write anything to that matter. I just let them see and see for themselves for what I have done.
But in terms of when I say protocol, are there any written protocol from any agencies, any organizations that talks about the best practices for video enhancement that you are aware of?
No.
There are none?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Are you aware of whether there are any publications that make reference to the mechanism that you use, the protocols that you use, any publications that you would look to in regards to video enhancement? None?
None.
You referenced earlier in your testimony that the video enhancement is used by other agencies. Are you familiar with whatever protocols are used by those agencies in video enhancement?
They don't use any protocols for me to use, no.
Okay. You responded to one of the prosecutor's questions earlier. He asked you whether or not you know if the standard of video enhancement or the practice of video enhancement that you utilize, whether or not it is, quote, generally accepted. And you said it is.
Yes, it is.
Do you know by what agencies or what entities that protocol is generally accepted by?
It has been accepted in the Cobb County, Fulton County, and Gwinnett County.
Okay. And when you're responding to it being accepted, are you talking about it has been used in those counties? Video enhancements has been used in those counties. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. I have no further questions for this witness.
Anybody else? Go ahead. Mr. Weinstein, you can go third. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sudi Chaki, minutes on behalf of Mr. Dorsey. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Now, what was your name again?
Walter Pineda.
Mr. Pineda, how are you?
Fine.
All right. So we spoke a little bit about the way that you developed your expertise, what you claim to be your expertise. And you said you used to enhance tape back in the day, right?
Film.
And then film developed into VHS. Is that right? And then CDs. Is that right?
Correct.
And now they're hard drives.
Correct.
So now, is it fair to say that technology has changed drastically?
It has.
Have you received any training as it comes to the new technology that is used nowadays in the video recording?
I have not.
Okay.
But the last time that I worked for Pinkerton, we already were using hard drives.
But you haven't been trained formally by any agency or any education from any school?
They don't have anything available for that.
All right. Now, when the state asked you, did you receive any further training, your response was that you have gotten training as a bilingual interpreter and as a medical interpretation. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. And those things have absolutely nothing to do with video enhancement. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
You don't need to speak Spanish to be able to enhance a video.
Correct.
Now, you describe the way that you do it, but you have not told us if that is the way that everybody else does it. Is that right?
I don't know how everybody else does it, but the way I do it, that's the way I've been doing it for years.
Okay. And do you have a bachelor's degree?
No, sir, I don't.
Do you have any type of education with IT?
I don't have.
Okay. Do you have an associate's degree?
No, I don't.
Do you have a high school degree?
I have a high school. Yes, I have a high school degree and I have a diploma on professional photography and design.
All right. Where did you get your diploma on professional photography?
Southeastern Center for the Photographic Arts.
And when did you get that?
I got that in 1987.
1987. Has the technology that was used in 1987 changed drastically to the technology used, say, from 2010 to 2022?
I believe so.
Have you been trained in that new technology by any formal education agency?
No, I have not.
Now, when you say that you have testified over 50 times, is that right?
More than 50 times, yes, sir.
And when was the last time that you testified?
I testified over probably about 6 months ago in DeKalb County.
DeKalb County, okay. Now, have you also said that you have testified for the defense sometimes, is that right?
Yes, I have.
How many times out of those 50 plus times?
I would say more than 10 times.
About 10 times, okay. Now, when you enhance these videos, you describe as you break it up into 4 sections, is that right?
No, I break it up into 4 sections and use only one section.
Okay, and when you break it up into that 4 sections and use that one section, what do you do with that one section?
That one section follow up on the images involved on that particular event. So I get all the images involved. Let's see if the person is going by. I capture every single event of the person going in front of the camera.
But other than freeze framing the video, what do you actually do? What is the process to, as you say, enhance these images?
All I do is get closer, and if the image is too noisy, you reduce the noise out.
Is that something that I could do if I had the right software to get it done?
You can do it if it's up to you, yes.
So any layperson that has the right software could just go ahead and do that?
If they will have the experience, they want to do it, it's up to them.
But so you don't have to have a degree or any level of expertise to actually do that?
Correct.
And is it fair to say that sometimes some careers just with technology advancement just become obsolete?
Not this particular one. I mean, I've been doing it for 30 years.
Then how come are you moonlighting as an interpreter as well?
No.
Okay, so how come you haven't gotten any further training as to the technology?
Because people have not using video technology as much as they used to do it in the past.
Okay. Has anybody ever reviewed your work? Has there ever been any peer review of the work that you do?
I'm not aware of. I mean, the only thing is give the evidence to the prosecution or to defense, to the police department, and they're satisfied with it, and they are.
What is the name of the software that you use?
I use a software called Photoshop.
Photoshop, that's the one I can get on the Apple Store?
It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Mr. Panea,
Yes, sir.
over here. How many video enhancements have you done over the course of 30 years? Just ballpark.
I would say over 500.
Over 500? Okay, all right. Next.
Doug Weinstein for Mr. Kendrick. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
You were saying that you're not aware of any organizations that certify video enhancement technicians. Is that correct?
I don't.
Are you familiar with the International Association of Identification?
No, sir.
Are you aware that they have certifications?
I sustain the objection.
Okay.
Remember, it's knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education, okay?
Are you certified by them as a forensic video technician?
No.
Are you certified by them for forensic photography?
No,
Are you familiar with the paper by the Scientific Working Group on Imaging Technology that lays out guidelines for following imaging
no,
techniques? So according to their guidelines, you're supposed to keep a documented record of the techniques that you use. Do you keep a documented record of what you do?
I don't.
It also states that you should have peer review of your work. Is there peer review of your work?
I don't know. I don't know who has reviewed it.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
I don't know who has reviewed it. No, I don't.
Are there others in your company that review your work?
No, I work independently, sir.
The guidelines also state that there should be annual training. Do you participate in any annual training?
I have not.
Gentlemen, object to their last question. Witness specified he's not familiar with the guidelines.
I asked if he participated in annual training.
Training, that's different. I'll overrule the objection.
Have you undergone any competency testing?
No,
The guidelines also specify that there should be proficiency testing. Have you had any proficiency testing?
no,
The guidelines also state that there should be standard operating procedures for image enhancement. Do you have a set of standard operating procedures that you follow?
I do.
And what are those standard operating procedures?
Like I told you before, I follow up the way that I always do it in every single enhanced video that I work in.
And are those standard operating procedures written down somewhere?
No, sir.
So
Something I learned through the years.
Your technique for image processing involves breaking the image up into 4, can I say quadrants? Is that fair?
Correct.
When you analyze those quadrants, do you do that in the spatial domain or the frequency domain?
The frequency domain means the frame that I obtain out, in which is highlighted. So I follow that by every single image that I'm working in.
I'm not sure that you followed the question. Sir, do you know what frequency domain processing is?
Not specifically, no. But
Do you know what, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, finish your answer, please.
No, go ahead.
Sir, do you know what spatial domain processing is?
The spatial is the space, I think, is the space in which you are involved according to the images on the monitor.
Do you know the circumstances where you should use spatial domain processing?
No, I don't.
Do you know the circumstances where you should use frequency domain processing?
No, I don't.
When you're seeking information from the image, do you know when it's appropriate to use spatial domain processing versus frequency domain processing?
I'm not familiar with that.
I stand the objection.
And the last question, sir, is your particular processing technique. Do you have any publications?
No, sir.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Anybody else?
I do, Judge.
Couple means 2. Don't lie to me, okay? So, go ahead.
Now, I just had a few questions. So, do you ever compare one of your enhanced videos to a video of the same thing but of higher quality to see if your enhancement actually made it look enhanced?
If you're telling me about a video from 10 years ago and a video right now for 4K, you will see the difference. From 10 years ago, it's very grainy. From today's, it's very clear. I can see your freckles. I can see your eyelashes.
Okay, it's true though. I don't have freckles though, do I?
I stand.
Okay, but what I was really asking you is, have you ever taken maybe a HD camera and videotaped something, and then taken a non-HD video camera and videotaped the same thing, and then supposedly enhance the non-HD one so we can compare the two and see if your work actually makes any difference at all?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and how many times have you done that?
That's 'cause, like I said one time, 10 years ago, I used VHS cameras. Today, I have myself a new camcorder, 4K, so you can see the difference. I did not take the same thing, but when you do the close-ups or the enhancements of it, you can see the difference and the details on the image.
Okay, and did you record that anywhere? The accuracy
No,
of
I
that?
didn't record it.
And that was 10 years ago?
No, I did the video on 4K not too long ago and the VHS years ago.
Okay, and then you said you use Photoshop to enhance the images?
Yes, sir.
And it's also true that Photoshop can be used to alter images?
Yes, they can be used, but I haven't.
Okay, and how are we supposed to tell, besides taking your word for it, that you haven't altered any images?
You tell me which one I have done, and then I'll respond to it.
Okay, so just your responses.
If you have something that I've done that is being altered by me, you let me know.
Okay, and then once we let you know, what's going to happen next?
I don't know.
Basis. Relevance.
Your Honor, it's goes to his direct previous question.
As to in terms of what? What previous
Like
question?
how we're, the general question still hasn't been answered, but how are we going to know whether one of his work product items has been altered in
Is that an
Photoshop?
issue in this case?
Yeah.
You think that he's altered one of the documents or altered it?
No, Your Honor, credibility is always that issue. And
That's
so,
weight. That doesn't go to the things that I'm a gatekeeper, remember? So part of that is, do you have something that would indicate to me that he should be disqualified because he's altered something? I don't think there's been anything in terms of foundation.
Your Honor, my point would be that if there isn't a way to know whether he's altered it or not, that goes to the weight and the credibility.
Well, that's a determination for the jury to make. But of course, I'll make an initial threshold under Dahlberg. But the relevancy issue is kind of waning. So move on.
Okay. So apart from asking you and you answering, we don't have any way to know whether or not you've altered images in Photoshop.
It's up to the person to decide, not mine.
Okay. And what person do you mean?
It could be you, it could be the jury. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
Anybody else? Any other defense attorneys? Okay. All right.
Your Honor, I would want to also move to qualify him as an expert in bilingual language interpretation. You say that he's trained in that.
That's not what you're here for. Yeah, that's not what he's here for.
I'm trying to make him here for that for a trial for my own reasons.
But you need to subpoena him and pay him. Okay? And then maybe he'll show up, but don't try and circumvent the process. There's a way to subpoena witnesses and everything else. If you want to qualify him as a bilingual, if you have a separate need and employment, then I'll let you do that off kind of at your discretion and your leisure, okay? But that's not the time to do it now.
Okay, Judge, and for the record, it was just that based on his answers to the state's questions.
I know, but that just fills out what he's been doing the past 30 years, okay? In terms of what he has done, additional education he's gotten. You've already kind of examined him about that. It has nothing to do with video enhancement. It's just another skill set that he has, okay? But it's not relevant for the inquiry that he's making right now. All right? All right?
Ms. Pineda, how many times have you been qualified as an expert?
Objection asked and answered.
I sustain the objection. He said over 50 times.
Mr. Matthews.
Carlton Matthews.
And the same objection.
Asked and answered.
Thank you.
And I sustain the objection. Christine has been asked and answered. He said he testified over 50 times.
Ms. Pineda, have you kept up with the current technologies?
No, I have not.
Was this an old video that you performed video enhancements for?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
any argument on this particular witness before I go ahead and make a decision? Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir. Just very briefly on behalf of Mr. Williams, the issue before the court is whether or not he should be qualified as, if I'm correct, I think the state is moving to qualify him as a forensic video analyst. Did I get that correct?
Yes, sir. Forensic video analysis.
I would say to the court, Your Honor, based clearly upon the responses to the questions put before this witness, and in consideration of the Daubert standard and Rule 702, that this witness is clearly not qualified under that standard. I would just state the court knows the law, so I will just say that under the Daubert standard, we look towards relevance and reliability of the witness's testimony. Putting aside the relevance, that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about reliability of the technique, of the proper testimony that would be offered. And although 702 and Daubert is somewhat flexible, it's geared towards scientific validity and the principles that underlie a proposed submission, in this case, a video enhancement. We don't look towards the conclusion, we look towards the principles and the methodology, and we look towards whether or not there's been a testing of the experts, the proffered experts theory. There has not been. We look for whether or not there's been publication in support of the expert's method or theory. There's no testimony that there has been any of that. We look towards, the court is advised under Daubert to look towards.
What about his education? Because that's kind of the issue for me is, so we want to talk about that or his experience, I should say. He's been doing this 30 years. So
education and experience is factors that the court can look to as well. But and I heard the witness testify that he has testified in regards to video enhancements upwards of 50 times. Those 50 testimonies could all have been improper. They could have been wrong because the methodology has to be tested. They could all very well have been done under the Harper standard, which is no longer the law in the state of Georgia. The question before the court is whether or not this witness meets the Daubert requirements. And I would say to the court that simply looking at the responses to the questions, both on direct and on cross, or on voir dire, that he does not. That the witnesses testified that there are no protocols to the methodology used by him. He is unable to indicate whether or not his method or his methodology is generally accepted. There is no peer review. It's not just that he doesn't know if there's any peer review. There is no peer review of his methodology. There is no testimony as to the error rate of his methodology. Under all of those factors, he fails, or this witness fails in terms of being able to be qualified as an expert. And I would ask the court to deny the state's request to qualify this gentleman as an expert.
All right, anybody wish to add to Mr. Adams? What he is, don't regurgitate, but just add if you've got anything to that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
On behalf of Mr. Eppinger, Your Honor, the court pointed out the education and experience in this particular case. The witness testified that he had performed almost 500 of these video analysis over 30 years. That breaks down to less than 2 per month over the past 30 years. He also testified that he does not have any formal education or no continuing education with regards to these things over the past 30 years. Those are 2 things that he directly testified to. He has not shown that he has the requisite experience in this particular matter to be qualified as an expert, and as such, neither the education, Your Honor. So we believe that under Daubert, he should not be qualified as an expert. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Okay, all right. Looking at 24-7-702, testimony by expert witnesses. B, if scientific, technical, or other specialized knowledge will assist the trier of fact to understand the evidence or determine a fact and issue, a witness qualifies as an expert by knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education may testify thereto in the form of an opinion or otherwise. Before I forgot, state wish to be heard in terms of argument, in terms of the.
Yes, Your Honor, if the court wouldn't mind.
Sure, I don't mind.
Your Honor, so I want to be clear that what we're basing our our request to qualify this gentleman as an expert is in the video enhancement, the forensic video enhancement, and we are just referring to that older video. The video is from 2015, so I want to start with that. Additionally, Your Honor, although Mr. Adams correctly stated to Daubert, obviously after Daubert we have Kumo Tire, and Kumo Tire explains how we can qualify these experts when it's not that scientific process, when it's not that straightforward. Here's a GBI witness, here's what they do, here's a scientific method. Kumo Tire provides us an avenue to qualify experts based on experience. And this is going to be something that the court's probably going to hear a lot about with our next witness as well. But basically, with experts like this, the 11th Circuit, and I'd like to point to the 11th Circuit because in Rule 702, obviously this being a new rule to criminal law in Georgia, the legislature has directed us to look to not only the 11th Circuit, but also to all federal courts. But I'll start with the 11th Circuit. United States versus Augustin. That's a 2011 case out of the 11th Circuit, and I can provide all the sites for the court if the court would like me to. In that case, the 11th Circuit said, we note that Federal Rule of Evidence 702 does not define an expert in a narrow sense. And in this case, they were qualifying a gang expert. And the court said, in light of the substantial experience that Agent Young had with respect to street gangs, we conclude that the district court was within its discretion in determining that the agent was qualified to give expert testimony. And this is something that happens a lot. The 11th Circuit, and this is another case out of the 11th Circuit, a 2015 case called United States versus Wilson. In United States versus Wilson, the court held that because a Daubert inquiry must be tied to particular facts of the case, the actual Daubert factors, the ones that Mr. Adams referenced, those Daubert factors may or may not be pertinent in assessing reliability depending on the nature of the issue, the expert's particular expertise, and the subject of the testimony. As such, a district court maintains the same kind of latitude in deciding how to test an expert's reliability and to decide whether or when special briefing or other proceedings are needed to investigate reliability, as it enjoys when it decides whether or not an expert's testimony is reliable.
Okay, but here's the thing I want you to focus on for me, Ms. Rosenwasser. That is, you're asking me to court to qualify him as a forensic video, an expert in the area of forensic video analysis. He's not certified by a national accrediting body, which is something that there is an entity or an organization that does provide certification for that particular type of analysis. He has no annual training, and his competency hasn't been tested. So the principles and methodology are something that the court has to really look at in this case. He's got 30 years of experience, yes, but there are other things that Daubert requires me to look at in terms of a gatekeeping function. You're asking me to qualify him as a forensic examiner. That's different. If he had some of those other things, other like certifications, I wouldn't have so much of a problem. Convince me that otherwise, because it looks like from looking at, under Daubert and 702, testimony is based on sufficient facts or data. The testimony is a product of reliable principles and methods, and the witnesses apply those principles and methods reliably to the facts of the case, which have or will be admitted in evidence before the trier of fact. So I have great discretion, of course, and it's abuse of discretion for whatever my ruling is.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm trying to ask you, given those issues of not being certified by a national body, which there is one, no annual training, and that's just 3, and then there's no competency or testing. So tell me why I should, I should look to, and I've read Kumo. I know about Kumo. Kumo goes hand in hand. That it, for the non-scientific folks, it lets the courts kind of use that gatekeeping function, because part of the gatekeeping function, am I citing Wilson versus Redmond Construction, it's 359 Georgia Appeals 814. It's a 2021 case, and I have to make this gatekeeping function. It requires me to act as a gatekeeper, ensure speculative and unreliable opinions don't reach the jury. As a gatekeeper, the court must do a preliminary assessment of the reasoning and methodology underlying the testimony is scientifically valid and whether that reasoning or methodology can properly be applied to facts in this case.
And
so the trouble I have is you want me to qualify him as forensic. So forensic indicates to the court that there's some level of training, expertise, certification, peer review, or something to that effect.
so, Your Honor, I was wondering if I could amend my co-counsel's request. If we could qualify him only in the expert in the very limited field of video enhancement.
I would do that.
That's what we would like to have, Your Honor.
I would do that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Adams, then I'm going to overrule your. I'll hear your issue, but I believe he is qualified in that particular area of video enhancement. But forensic, I will not qualify him in that.
Your Honor, for purposes of perfecting the record, and
yes,
on behalf of Mr. Williams, we would take exception to the court's rule in that regard. Our argument essentially would be that the same arguments in regards to Daubert and 702 that we proffered previously would apply to whether he's being qualified as a forensic analyst or a video enhancer. And we believe that these statements and the evidence that's been put forth so far do not meet the requirements of Daubert or 702, even under this newly proffered expertise.
Well, I'll of course professionally disagree with you. I think that from the court's listening to his testimony, Mr. Pineda's testimony, he's been doing this for 30 years. There is a methodology that he follows, the 4-part division. That certainly he followed that in this particular case. I think that would be helpful to the jury in this particular matter. So it's different than being a forensic, because then forensic, I should say, video analysis. So I'll respectfully overrule or note your objection for the record.
And ask for continued objection, of course.
All right.
On behalf of Mr. Stillwell, who's directly affected by this evidence as well, we would join in Mr. Adams' argument and adopt all of his arguments.
Okay, if you're not, Mr. Harvey did you all a favor yesterday, okay? Unless there's something else, then I'm going to assume that everybody's going to have the same objection or same basis, okay? So, and continuing objection. Yes, Ms. Sharp.
Your Honor, can I just add something?
Sure.
On behalf of Mr. Myra.
Yes.
I understand the court's ruling, but it's still, his methodology has not been tested. And that's the additional thing that I would add. It hasn't been tested, it hasn't been peer reviewed, hasn't been tested. We have no idea whether or not his methodology, the way that he does it.
Under Kumu, did you take a look at Kumu Tire?
I did, Judge.
526 U.S. 137, 1999. Okay, and that allows the court to look at other factors for non-scientific, and this is non-scientific. It's more so not like chemistry, biology, physics, that kind of thing that can be tested. That can be that there's either a right or a wrong answer. So I'm required under Kumu to go ahead and at least if I can look at the other factors in terms of the subject matter of his testimony and expertise, reliability. I'll note your objection for the record. Okay. All right.
But Your Honor, Kumo Tire doesn't apply here. This is scientific analysis that he's doing. I don't understand what can be more scientific than using Fourier transforms, discrete cosine transforms. You're taking it into a different domain.
No, you are because you're adding things that haven't been testified to.
He testified that he doesn't know.
Okay, and that goes to weight and sufficiency. Well, in terms of it can go to weight and sufficiency. I have a gatekeeping function, but beside that, you're welcome on cross to take him to task on any of that.
But your gatekeeping function ensures that methods analysis that doesn't follow reliable established standards doesn't get in front of the jury. And this gentleman, while he's been doing it for a long time, is not following the methodology that's established in this industry. He's using his own method. It
The
hasn't been
Daubert
tested.
factors, I'm quoting out of Kumu, Daubert factors do not constitute a definite checklist or test, and the gatekeeping inquiry must be tied to particular facts. So, particular facts are, he enhances, he blows this thing up into divides it into 4 parts, and he can testify about that. You're welcome to go ahead, and he's been doing that for 30 years, and certainly the types of videography has changed over that particular period of time. That's what he's going to testify to. You all certainly, there are issues of weight and credibility that I'm sure that you'll go ahead and examine him on. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Johnson, anything else?
Yes, on behalf of Mr. Evans, with regards to the determination that this is such a scientific matter that it assists the jury, his testimony will assist the jury. He has testified that he uses nothing more than Photoshop, which is a product that is sold to the common public and can be used by anybody. So, understanding that Photoshop does not need to be boasted by his designation as an expert in this particular case. And also, the fact that he said he's been doing this 30 years should not carry weight, given the fact that he's using technology that has not even existed for maybe 10 to 15 years, which he testified that he only uses maybe twice a month based on those things.
And he's been qualified 50 times in, or actually in DeKalb, Fulton, Cobb, and Gwinnett, so and Fulton. So, all right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you. All right, Mr. Suri, anything, sir?
Yeah, John Suri Chalaki, on behalf of Mr. Dorsey, just we respectfully disagree, Your Honor, and just saying that as he testified, any layperson could do this. We do have an objection as to him being labeled an expert. It will be, again, bolstering. They can just present him as a witness, as a technician, that enhance the video and explain to the jury what he actually did, not that he has an expertise in that, and not that it's something any different than their investigator or even an intern could have done. So just wanted to say that, Your Honor, that any layperson could do what he's doing, and that is what distinguishes an expert. Thank you.
Ms. Rosenwasser, one more thing. What about the issue of somebody? I mean, Photoshop he used Photoshop in this particular case, didn't he?
Your Honor, could I ask him?
Mr. Pineda, did you use what program or did you use to enhance the video in this case?
Photoshop.
Photoshop. He did. All right. So what's to say that, as Mr. Suri mentioned already, about anybody else being able to use Photoshop?
Your Honor, my understanding from.
I don't need to designate him as an expert for him to testify.
Absolutely. When we went to qualify, and we wanted to do this out of essentially an abundance of caution to ensure that maybe the jury would want to know how that these were enhanced. And we thought that he would be able to explain that based on his years of testimony and experience. So my understanding is that based on his experience, my understanding to the answer to the question where he mentioned that anyone could do this, it was not only that anyone could use Photoshop, but anyone who knows how to use Photoshop and learns over a period of years how to enhance better on it. But should the court wish to find he is only admissible as a lay witness, we'll put in the videos through him as a lay witness. That's fine too.
We
just want to get the videos in. I don't care who's coming.
Mr. Jimenez, you convinced me. I do believe that given the fact that this is a readily available program, Photoshop, and that anybody with a varying level of skill and practice can do that, I won't qualify him as an expert. I'm just going to let him testify as a layperson for the above mentioned reasons. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll call him as a lay witness.
That's fine. All right. Mr. Pineda, I'm gonna go ahead and excuse you as a witness. Appreciate your patience with us, and the state will call you, or that's will call you. You might get a call from Mr. Menendez over here, the interpreter, but that's a separate issue, okay? And make sure you're patient. All right. So, but please don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay? All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, y'all. The attorneys won that one, y'all. The attorneys won that one.
Counsels and those who are interested, before I take up your next witness, you have the other witness, Mr.
Investigator Hall. Yes, Investigator Hall is here, Your Honor.
Okay, let's just pause on him just a second. Do you have your other witness related to Mr. Stillwell's motion to dismiss?
Your Honor, we are not ready on that right now. We can be ready for that immediately after Investigator Hall's testimony.
I'm gonna get my
How come he's not
popcorn
here?
now.
I thought you all said you're gonna have him available.
We can make him if Your Honor can give me 10 minutes, I can get everybody down to do that hearing.
That's fine. Let me give you 10 minutes. I have to, there's something else I need to, unrelated court business I need to take up. So let me go ahead and deal with Mr. Stillwell next, and then we'll start on Mr. Hall probably this afternoon. But let's go ahead and get Mr. Stillwell done first, okay? So we're going to recess about 15 minutes, and we'll go ahead and.
Can we keep Investigator Hall here, Your Honor?
Hang tight. Have him come back for 1 o'clock, please, madam. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, we're in recess.
All right, they're in recess for 15 minutes. I'm gonna turn this down for a minute so we can have a conversation, y'all. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think, guys? What do y'all think? What's your opinion of everything that's happening? I think this is very good for us to learn about what happens in the courtroom, what we have experienced in the courtroom. But you know what? Being there is a little bit better too. Watching it on TV is kind of weird because you don't get to see everything. You know, when you're inside the courtroom, you can look around and see people's reaction and see what's going on. That makes a big difference, especially if you want to go, like you get to see the jury's reaction to certain things and how they, doing things. So I can't, but definitely I'm going to be in the courtroom during the trial. I might not be there every day, but I'm going to put out some days that I'm going to go there and experience it myself. So anybody have any comments, questions, or anything? The level that they will go to just to get a conviction is mind-blowing. Why they just can't be fair and use someone who fits a forensic. Exactly, Daddy Lolo. Exactly. Because now the justice system, man, is so freaking unfair. It's unfair first for people who don't have money, who don't have the funds to be able to get attorneys who knows the law. Because then if you get a rinky-dinky attorney that don't know the law, you're gonna lose because the states and prosecutor has all this unlimited amount of funds to be able to get the kind of conviction that they want, So it's an unfair system. It's very much unfair. Because even if you get some of these, now federal gives you good lawyers. Now state will give you rinky-dinky lawyers. You get what I mean? Thank you. I'm working listening from the clouds. Oh, Ms. B. But but let's go back and look at some of the charges in these people while we wait, right? I noticed that the judge didn't call a lot of people name. I know Gunner was one of the names they didn't call, and I know the other guy, the little Mac guy, I know they didn't call him. But there is two others I noticed they didn't call, right? Okay, like let's see. Okay, Arnold was the one, Martinez Arnold is the one that he was supposed to be in court, but he's not there. And he has, his attorney didn't send a conflict of schedule. So the judge said they're going to have to talk about that with that lawyer. But they didn't call a couple of them. Let me see if I can remember the name of the ones they didn't call. Of course, we know Gunner, which was Mr. Sergio Kitchen. He wasn't called because he took a plea. Mr. Lee, they didn't call Mr. Lee. If you guys remember, they didn't call Mr. Lee. They didn't call, let's see, I'm trying to remember the names. They didn't call Winfrey. They didn't call Winfrey. And they didn't call, it's another one they didn't call. Yeah, I knew they wasn't going to call Gunner. But there was 4 others that didn't call. And now, because I have the list in front of me. I have to rewind it back and see which one they didn't call. But I know they didn't call Winfrey. They didn't call Winfrey. They didn't call Winfrey. Who else did they call? Did they call Sledge? Do you remember if they called Sledge? I don't remember if Sledge was called. This is so good. Even if even there's guilt, the state is underhanded and devious. Imagine what they would have done to other people to get a conviction. Yeah. It's about who has money. That's how come people with money get away with stuff. Like, people like a Donald Trump and people like that. They got money to be able to fight their fight because all the devious and terrible things these people say. I don't remember Sledge's name. Yeah, I don't think they call Sledge. No, I don't think because then I would have remembered being Sledge family. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. Woo! We are family. I got my sisters with me. Yeah, they don't. I don't remember them calling that name. Let's see. But this is very interesting. So now that guy because let me tell you something. When you're a juror, right? Even though they say that the expert should not hold any weight, but juror is going to think, hey, this person is classified as an expert. So therefore, what they're saying is overpower somebody who's just regular. So I'm glad that the attorneys fought it out well enough for them to knock it down, because we all could use Photoshop, can't we? We ain't experts. I'm not an expert. I'm a layman, but I know how to do Photoshop. I know how to enhance and make it bigger. I know how to do that, but I'm no expert. But this is very good. This is very good. We did talk about the you'd asked what Gunner was not Gunner, what Mr. Williams was charged with. He was charged with 2 counts. First count was count number 1, which is conspiracy to violate the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, OCGA 16-14-4C. And then he was charged for 56, count 56, which is participating in a criminal street gang activity, OCGA 16-15-4. You don't know how to Photoshop? Yes, you can. Look, you do that. You don't do that on your phone. You don't do that on your phone. You can do that on your phone, sir. When you crop the picture and make it bigger, if you want to look at a certain spot in your picture, you make it bigger. You just keep chopping it up, chop it and bring it up. Oh, Lord, you don't know. How many people know how to do Photoshop? Okay, Daddy Lolo, you ready to learn? Okay, go into your pictures, right? Go into your pictures, right? Go into your pictures. You got me? Go into your pictures. Okay, go into your pictures, right? All right. In your pictures, at the bottom, right? If you're using your phone, at the bottom, you have a regular Android phone. You see your picture, you see there's a heart, there's like a pencil, there's a share, and there's a trash, right? If you click the little pencil, if you click the little pencil, right? You see these little, oh, you got an iPhone. Okay, let me switch over to my iPhone. Hold on. Let me switch over. Okay, go to your pictures in your iPhone. Go into your pictures, okay? You know how to find your pictures, right? You go at the top where it says photos, click that, right? And then you just go into recent pictures, right? She said I learned Photoshop on you via YouTube. I'm just gonna show him the phone way, short little phone way. Okay, go into your that particular picture. Go and pick up a picture. Okay, hold on. I gotta go pick up my picture. Hold on. Where my pictures at? I gotta figure out how to look at my pictures now over here. Cause I'm an Android person. I don't know nothing about. Well, we're gonna learn together, right? Okay. You see at the top it says edit. Click at the top of the corner. It says edit. Okay. At the bottom, you see like a clock. Then you have three circles, right? And then you see the thing that has like a little chopping thing, right? Hit that. And then you could take the square and bring it all the way up so you can make it bigger, right? So if you take that little square, you push it up, you could make a certain part of your picture bigger. You see that? And then when you get it big enough the way you want it, you click done. That's how you Photoshop. You thought they called Sledge? I don't remember Sledge being called Tris. Okay, but if I can't teach you, go to YouTube. YouTube will teach you. Oh. Yes, that's Photoshop. Photoshop is the same thing. You can manipulate the picture and make it. Yeah, it is. That's shopping. That's shop and shopping is about the same thing. Photoshop is just the program itself. You know what I'm saying? The program itself. I'm just giving you a small layman way of doing it. Okay. It's the same thing. It's just a program. That's what it's called, Photoshop. But that our phones don't call it Photoshop. They call it editing and things like that. Get what I'm saying? Get it? It's all symmetric. I want to put me on. Oh, you want to do that kind of thing. You want to do, no, that's what you want to do. You can get different programs and do that. Put me on play one on. Oh, well. He was talking about enhancing the pictures and things like that. That's what he was talking. He wasn't talking about putting fake pages. Fake. That's another part of photo shop. SHOP. That's a different part of that. They didn't say he was doing that because that's manipulating the picture. He's not supposed to be manipulating. He's supposed to be enhancing it. Thank you, Ms. B. That he's supposed to be enhancing it, because if you start putting people in different spots, that's not good. You're not supposed to do that. That's tampering with evidence. He's not supposed to be tampering and putting a picture of somebody else in there. No. He's supposed to enhance it so he can see all the little pixels and everything that's in that picture. So what you're talking about, Daddy Lolo, is manipulating and tampering with the evidence. We don't want to. He's not supposed to be doing it. Say, Daddy Lolo. So you messing up, Daddy Lolo. He wants to put his picture with somebody else. And you laughing. Daddy Lolo, you should be ashamed of yourself. You want them to tamper with the evidence. No, he's just enhancing it, making it larger so he could see every frame by frame. Because you see, remember he mentioned how he do it by 4 parts. He takes 4 parts and he'll take one part like from the bottom part of the picture and make it bigger, enhance it. Trissy said, no, not me. She says, my niece does it for me. No, me. I say this is some good stuff, y'all. This is some good stuff. Okay, like right now, with y'all watching this, right? Yesterday, when they were showing stuff like that, I was in there talking to the people and looking at the because what they do, they still have the video up for us. How can you learn how to do that on YouTube? That's how I learned how. Oh, you can learn how to do that. Oh, I thought you was asking me a question. Never mind. See, Tiff, I need glasses. I need my new glasses because I'm reading things wrong. I'm letting my mind read ahead of time before my eyes can see it. Daddy Lola, why are you trying to live a lie? You trying to put yourself in the picture with Kobe, huh? Okay, Daddy Lolo says, oh man, I'm gonna do some everything instead. Swiss Beats wedding. You know what? Oh, Daddy Lolo, go sit down somewhere. Go sit down. Go have 10 seats. You and the other people that's talking to you in your head. Oh, go have 10 seats. Y'all, it's so nasty outside. I need to be out there working. But let me tell you, I've been in here enjoying you guys. But I got to realize me sitting here is not going to put money in my pocket, you know? It's not going to put any money in my pocket. I got to get out there, work. Come on, Rihanna, sing that song in my head. Work, 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 work. Gotta go outside in the rain. Don't wanna go, don't wanna go. Just making up my own. You look at them jumping off the live now that I'm singing. Don't wanna go outside in the rain. Don't wanna go, don't wanna go, don't wanna. All right, so guys, I was gonna go back and tell you all the people and what they charge, right? Now let me tell the person that got the most charges in this RICO is Mr. Huey. Mr. Huey has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 charges. 19. This dude got more of everything on his thing here. And they did that activity gang thing so many times. He got 19. The person that has the least is Stevens, got only 1 charge, which is the number 1. We have Ryan got 1 charge, number 1. We got Winnie Lee got 1 charge. We had Gunner, he had 1 charge. We have Psycho, we got 1 charge. We have Valley, 1 charge. We have Duke, 1 charge. And can I ask y'all a question? Here's the deal. Why do all these people got nicknames? Why do all these people got nicknames? That's a question. Why do they all have nickname, y'all? Well, Daddy Lolo, you got a nickname, so you can't answer that question. Oh, that nickname that they go by. See, I don't go by a nickname. People just call me Sil. It is cold outside, Bree. It's cold. I don't want to go out there, but I gotta go, Bree. I don't have a regular 9 to 5. This is my butt inside of a building. Because you know what? I traded freedom for comfort. I traded freedom for comfort. You know, freedom is being able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, for the comfort of being in your home and security. I know how you got that name, but you're using that nickname. You have a nickname too? My name is Sylvia. Everybody calls me Sylvia. They don't call me any other name but Sylvia. Now, my husband will call me Bum. Bum Bum. You know what that means? Bum Bum. Bum Bum. Yeah, you figure what Bum Bum mean, y'all. Bum Bum. Not a bum in the street, but Bum Bum. Bum. Bum Bum. Can somebody guess what a Bum Bum is? What a Bum Bum. Bum Bum. But you know, I don't answer to Bum Bum. That's not my name. I answer to Sylvia. Yeah, I would tell a person in a minute, my name is Sylvia. Thank you very much. My channel is called Infamous Sylvia. But my name is Sylvia. I won't be answering, hey, Infamous Sylvia. No, that's not my name. What's your nickname? Home name, and when I work construction. Home is the name? They call you Home? Hey, Home. Ah, Miss B, yep. Miss B, you got it. Oh, Miss B, you got it. Yeah, the weather is tripping. Hey, Bree, you had some cold weathers before too. Miss B got it. Oh, Miss B, Miss B, Miss B. Y'all, I need to go. Thank you, Jesus. This is a week. Oh, little mama, sugar cane. Miss T. Miss T, little mama, sugar cane, sugar cane, Miss T. I can see people calling you Miss T because I want to call you Miss T because I keep screwing up your name. Everybody, put your what people call you on in the chat. When I was younger, they used to call me Sil. They called me Slim when I was slim. I'm not slim no more. So they can't call me. You can't put your name. Oh, she said you can't put a nickname on there. What's the temperature in Atlanta? It's 31 here. You probably warmer than me over here because it feels cold outside. Let's see what the weather is here. Let's see what the weather is here. Ash, Shay. What's Trish' name? Yeah, I got this crappy glasses on right now. Got these crappy. Do you know? Yeah, somebody had asked me what's the judge's name. The judge's name, first name is Ural. 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 I guarantee you. Yeah. Ural. Toilet. The urine. Oh gosh, I can imagine when he was young, those kids used to mess with him by his name. Parents don't know what they be doing to their kids. Little bit. Hey, little bit. Bree, little bit. Family call you Lolo or D. Mine was Sil, Slim, Sweetheart. That's Lady Coltrane. That is not a nickname everybody outside would call you, okay? My husband called that Miss Meanie extended family. Okay, let's see. Everybody put their nickname in there. As long as it doesn't get the channel shut down, you can tell us, Ashley. Yeah, don't get our shit. Give us it rhymes with type of thing, or you say like female dog, tall, so we can figure it out or something. Yeah, it's nasty outside. Oh, you asked me what's the weather like out here in Georgia? Let's see what the weather is like. Let me look at my phone, see what the weather is like. Wanna go outside. Yeah, that's what they call me, Bum Bum. Trissy, yes, that's what he called me, Bum Bum. Trissy, for real, he called me Bum Bum. You know what I think? I think Young Thug is going to get off. Here's why I think Young Thug. Okay, here come the judge. He's coming back. Let me turn the thing back up. Hold on.
All right, we ready? Everybody back? Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Love and Mr. Armstrong.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Rosenwasser, where are we now with the issue involving Mr. Stillwell? Can we have that witness?
Yes, Your Honor, and the hearing is going to be handled by Mr. Armstrong's blog.
Okay. What's the name of our witness?
Deputy District Attorney Michael Sprinkle, Your Honor. SPRINKL.
Okay. All right. Summon Mr. Sprinkle.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, for the record, I'd like to invoke the rules of sequestration.
All parties who are going to give testimony in this case, you can step outside at this point in time. Please don't discuss testimony except the attorneys in this case.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, the DA's office is speaking to the mic. We have a hard time hearing back here.
Yes, please.
Yeah, long just there.
Is Mr. Sprinkle on his way or is he?
He's here, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. You can summon Mr. Sprinkle, please.
They are getting him. He was outside, Your Honor. Okay, I don't know, he must have stepped outside.
Who?
Mike. It's okay, we will. It's no problem. Oh, he went to the. Your Honor, Deputy Sprinkle is coming to this courtroom from 8F. He erroneously understood us to be there. My apologies to the court.
Okay.
No, it's his Honor.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to let you know. I wasn't. I didn't need to.
Thank you very much. We're going to react on to the introduction of this. Rather than have
Matter. If I anticipate going to go into the facts of this case a little bit, hopefully not more than necessary, and I will not try to go anywhere unnecessarily. Are we to continue, I mean, we have trial January 9th. Are we to continue to be using initials, pseudonyms? Where are we with that? Because I don't.
I've been asked to do that. So this is your motion. So you need to use whatever names. Hold on, Mr. Sprinkle, 1 second. 1 sec, Mr. Sprinkle. Hold on 1 second. So is that what you're asking?
Well, I just don't want to violate anyone's court orders or get in trouble for anything. And I'm going to do my best. I mean, I know people by names, I
haven't said otherwise. I mean,
okay.
So, no, I mean, that was a time period line in the sand for information to be provided. So
we're past that.
Yeah, we're past that.
Thank you.
Ingram, maybe getting some more phone calls. Answer that for me, please. Huh? No, different. I blocked that last one. Okay, is that clarified, Mr.?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, Mr. Sprinkle? Sir, if you would be so kind, once you drop all your materials, to approach the witness stand, and Deputy Ingram will be swear you as a witness, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Raise your right hand. You swear affirm the testimony you give the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Have a seat. Take your first and last name and spell first and last name.
First name Michael, Michael. Last name Sprinkle, Sprinkel.
Good afternoon, Deputy Sprinkle. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Deputy Sprinkle, would you please tell the court where is it you're currently employed?
I'm currently employed at the Office of the Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney.
And what capacity are you employed there?
I'm a Deputy District Attorney.
How long have you served the Fulton County District Attorney's Office as a Deputy District Attorney?
Since June 21st, 2011.
And when did you first begin with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office?
June 21st, 2011.
What area do you work in within the District Attorney's Office?
I am the head of the unindicted homicide unit. I review all of the murder cases that come, well, not just murder, all homicide cases that come into the office from the various police agencies in the county.
And you made a distinction between murders and homicides. Why is that?
Well, it's not just murder. There's felony murder. There's involuntary manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter, homicide by vehicle in the first degree, et cetera.
Have you always served as the head of the unindicted homicide unit?
No.
Before serving as the head of the unindicted homicide unit, what did you do within the District Attorney's Office?
For approximately the first 3 months of my employment in the DA's office, I was assigned to what was called at the time the complaint room, which was a 24-hour operation in which I would receive or be assigned cases that were coming in live. Essentially, somebody had just been arrested and the police would send a report. I would review it, speak with the officer, draft some sort of affidavit to summarize the case, and otherwise ready the case for first appearance the following morning. Following that, I was assigned to the non-complex division. I was in that division for 3 to 6 months. It sounds about right. That involved the prosecution of cases that were deemed non-complex, such as possession of cocaine and theft by taking under a certain value. After my time in the non-complex division, I was assigned to the complex trial division for about a little less than 2 years, signed to Judge Schwall's courtroom and then Judge Constance Russell's courtroom. And then in October of 2013, I was assigned to the unindicted homicide unit, albeit I was not the head of the unindicted homicide unit, though if memory serves correctly, I was the only attorney in the unit. So I suppose in a way I was the head, given that I was the only one. But then as time went on, the unit expanded. I was promoted, and now there's more employees in the unit. Now I'm the deputy in charge of it.
Within the homicide unit of the District Attorney's Office, do you receive cases involving homicides where persons are charged or already arrested?
Yes.
And is it always the case that a person has been charged or arrested when you receive a file within the office?
No.
When you do receive a file wherein a person has been arrested, do you immediately present that case to the grand jury?
No.
Why is that?
Well, I want to ensure that the person who's been charged or arrested primarily committed the crime that it is alleged they committed. So in order to do that, I inspect the case file, which primarily, if not, well, I don't want to say exclusively, because there are some things that I find on my own. But when I'm preliminarily looking at a case file, I look at what the police have sent me, their reports, their interviews, cell phone records, the extractions of cell phones, when the police actually copy the data out of somebody's cell phone. And I just go over all of this to make sure it's consistent with what has been alleged in the arrest warrants.
And do you always have all of the information within the case file given to you by law enforcement that you feel you need in order to fully complete the investigation on a homicide?
No, not always, no.
And what types of steps do you take to ensure that you have obtained as much information as you can? Do you, for instance, do you pull jail calls?
Yes.
Do you speak with witnesses?
I do, on occasion, yes.
Do you go to scenes?
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Your Honor.
Is it preliminary matter? Is it preliminary matters?
Thank you.
I'll allow it. Over your objection.
Thank you. Do you go to scenes?
Yes.
Do you seek search warrants?
Yes.
And do you present evidence to other entities for further testing?
Yes.
And does that always take limited amounts of time, or is that sometimes more protracted?
Well, it depends on the case and the volume of deficiencies that I have identified in the initial investigation.
Bringing you to the case involving the murder of Donovan Thomas, do you recall when you received that case file within the district attorney's office?
Would have been late, probably December 2015, January of 2016, somewhere around there. It's actually probably going to be January of 2016, to be more exact.
And without going into specifics about what that was, at the time that you received that case file, was it complete to your satisfaction as an assistant district attorney?
Well, it depends on how you define the word complete. Was it complete insofar as the Atlanta Police Department was concerned? I don't know. I know that they handed me everything that I asked for. If there were some other documents that the Detective Thorpe still had in his file, they just didn't give to me. I have no way of knowing that. As far as I know, what the Atlanta Police Department gave me was the complete case file.
And did you review that complete case file that you received from the Atlanta Police Department?
I did.
Upon reviewing that case file, were you satisfied that the case was sufficient to present to the grand jury as you received it at that time?
No.
Did you take additional steps to investigate the case?
Yes.
Now, at the time, a person had been arrested on the murder, is that correct?
Yeah, at least one person had been arrested on the murder.
And that person was the defendant Shannon Stillwell?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
From what you were able to gather from the file that Detective Thorpe gave you and from your subsequent investigation of the case that you did, was Mr. Stillwell the only person of interest in that case? Was he the only alleged participant in the homicide?
Well, no, there were three other. If we're talking about the people that had been charged by the police, there were four.
Okay, go ahead.
There was Antonio Sledge, Demikian Garlington, Kenneth Copeland, and Shannon Jackson, aka Shannon Stillwell. Those were the four people that the police charged for the murder of Donovan Thomas in late 2015.
And were you able to determine, based on your review of the file given to you by Detective Thorpe, what primarily those arrests were based on?
They were primarily based on the statement of a young man named Spencer Wright.
All right. And when you received the file from Detective Thorpe, did you endeavor to speak with Spencer Wright yourself?
I did.
Why is that?
Well, so Spencer Wright, according to his statement, he witnessed the homicide, the drive-by shooting, as he stood at a bus stop on McDaniel Street across the street from the barber shop, the parking lot of which Mr. Donovan Thomas stood when he suffered his fatal gunshot wounds. There was a surveillance camera mounted on that barber shop, and the bus stop where Mr. Wright said he stood was in the viewing area of that surveillance camera. And when I looked at the footage, I didn't see anyone standing at the bus stop. I saw a cat at one point milling about the bench at the bus stop, and I only bring that up to indicate that the clarity was sufficient to tell if there was a human being standing there. There was no human being standing there. So what I wanted to do was speak with Mr. Wright and show him. I believe I printed off some still images. I don't think I brought in a computer or something to show him the actual footage. So I wanted to speak with Mr. Wright and make sure, first thing I did is I wanted to speak with him and make sure that I was clear as to where he was standing. So I actually, before I confronted him with the fact that I didn't see him on the video, I had some printouts from Google Earth, and I asked him to point to the specific bus stop where he said he was standing. And when he did, he pointed to the bus stop that was depicted on the surveillance footage, at which point I said, but there's nobody standing at that bus stop. And he didn't really have an explanation for me.
Did you receive that surveillance footage from the Atlanta Police Department?
Yeah, yes.
Did you, as you stated, you pulled Google Earth images. Was that something that you had received from the Atlanta Police Department, or is that something that you did to further your investigation?
That was something I did to aid in my interview with Mr. Wright. I just pulled up Google Earth and took screenshots of the bus stop and the general area where the homicide occurred so he could point to them and indicate where he stood, where he claimed to have been standing, I should say.
And why did it concern you that he was not shown in the surveillance footage that you presented to him, yet he claimed to have witnessed the homicide?
Well, he claimed that the bus stop was his vantage point from which he witnessed the 4 defendants that I mentioned earlier occupying a vehicle and commit the drive-by shooting. If he wasn't standing at the bus stop, that would suggest he didn't witness it at all.
Was there anything else that you were able to uncover during your ensuing investigation of this case that enlightened you more as to whether or not Mr. Wright was presenting to you information that was factually accurate?
Yes. So after my interview with him, I requested from the Atlanta City Jail, because that's where he was when I interviewed him. I interviewed him inside the Atlanta City Jail. He was an inmate there. From somebody that worked at the Atlanta City Jail, whose name I don't recall. But I asked him to send me Mr. Wright's recorded jail calls, because just like the Fulton County Jail, at least at that time, the phone calls placed by inmates from the Atlanta City Jail were recorded. So when I obtained Mr. Wright's jail calls, I found one that was placed shortly after his arrest to a gentleman. And during this call, and this is, by the way, not verbatim, okay? I'm not quoting him exactly, but he told his friend about his recent arrest, which I believe was on a probation violation. And he said that everything would be okay because he was helping the police solve a murder. And his friend asked, well, what murder was that? He said Nuts murder, and that Nut would be the moniker for Donovan Thomas. And his friend scoffed at him and said, but you didn't witness that. And Mr. Wright responded, he basically shushed him, reminding him that they were on a recorded jail line. But the implication there was that he didn't witness it, and he would prefer that his friend not, utter such a thing on a recorded jail phone. And then he said, but it's something to the effect of, it doesn't matter, we all know what happened anyway. And it's also worth mentioning that during my interview with Mr. Wright, very soon into the interview, something that caught my attention was, he said, you see, I've been on Instagram, or again, not verbatim, but he mentioned that he had been on Instagram and putting the pieces together from there, which put up a red flag, made me think that perhaps he was just compiling his statement through rumors that he saw on the internet. So after I heard that jail call, I asked Investigator David White. I knew who he was talking to. I can't recall his name off the top of my head, but the gentleman that he was talking to, and the same gentleman that said, but you didn't witness that, et cetera. So my investigator reached out to him and asked him, well, how did you know that Mr. Wright didn't witness the murder of Donovan Thomas? And he said, well, that murder was a really big deal in the city, and I'm pretty close with Mr. Wright, and he never mentioned to me that he had witnessed it. And it's the kind of thing that he would have mentioned had he witnessed it. So at that point, I was satisfied that Mr. Wright didn't really witness the murder at all, and he just made it up.
Why didn't you just go ahead and present the information to the grand jury as had been presented to you by the Atlanta Police Department. People had been arrested. Is it an imperative that you immediately get the case indicted?
Objection.
Who's made the objection?
Self-serving.
I sustain that's the form. You can rephrase it. You can rephrase it.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sprinkle, is there any reason in particular why you did not go ahead and present the indictment to the grand jury with the names and the information that had been given to you from the police department?
Well, for one thing, I'm not the one who decides what cases are presented to the grand jury, but if I was, I still wouldn't, because at that point, out of 3 of the 4 defendants, I had a complete absence of evidence that they committed the murder at all, and I wouldn't present a case naming a specific individual. I wouldn't present an indictment to a grand jury wherein a specific individual is alleged to have committed a crime when there's a total absence of evidence that they actually committed the crime. That would actually violate state bar rules for me to do that.
And Your Honor, if the court would, just so that I'm aware, is there any other party to this defendant Stillwell's motion to dismiss that I'm unaware of?
I have not, the court is unaware of anybody else who's joined in this particular issue.
Okay.
So.
Your Honor, if I can answer that, Ms. Dorsey, the state keeps saying that because this is RICO, everything applies to everything. I have adopted the motions of everybody, so I do reserve the right to ask some questions of the witness, Your Honor. But based on the theory that the state says that because it's RICO, everything applies to my client, I do want to make it very clear. I can have nothing to do with this.
Your Honor, this is Shannon Stillwell's assertion of his constitutional right to a speedy trial. I do not believe that Mr. Chadha or his client have any right to assert as it relates to Shannon Stillwell's assertion of his right or the denial thereof to a speedy trial. And I would ask that the court limit questioning and argument and commentary to the parties that are involved in this particular motion.
Your Honor, as it relates to Mr. Mark Quavius, he has nothing to do with it as well in terms of the specifics of a murder. However, he's a part of this indictment.
Yeah, the issue you're going to have is that since it's a RICO case and anything can be attributed to any other defendant, that's why that they have a right of confrontation as to this. Now, so the specific relief is only available to Mr. Stillwell, but counsel are entitled to ask other questions as they see fit.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Right.
Your Honor, if I may, just to be clear, on Mr. Williams' behalf, we do claim an interest in the outcome and the argument of this motion. We understand it's Mr. Stillwell's motion, but again, as the court has indicated, because this is a RICO indictment, Mr. Williams is charged in it. He has an interest and an ability to pose objections if necessary.
Deputy Sprinkle, after you determined that the information that you had been given was inaccurate or could not be verified, did you take additional steps to investigate the homicide, the murder of Donovan Thomas?
I did.
And would you tell the court whether or not this was a sort of high-profile case within the office?
It was.
And are you able to say what impact the case itself had on the office or on the city of Atlanta that caused it to be a high-profile case?
Basis.
Irrelevant. What does high-profile case have to do with anything?
All right.
I was fine.
Why don't you explain that for our rule?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the reason that I asked about it being a high-profile case is to sort of lay the groundwork for the fact that the office did not seek to not investigate or to not make sure that we got the case right. by asking whether it was a high-profile case. It's to bring out to the court the mindset with which Deputy Sprinkle investigated it.
Okay, I'm going to overrule your objection. Go ahead, ma'am.
I just want to
Thank
be
you, Your Honor.
clear. There-
I've overruled your objection.
Did that murder carry with it a series of violent shootings within the city of Atlanta?
Yes, for many years following that.
Basis. Why don't you rephrase?
I can do that. Thank you, Judge. After the murder of Donovan Thomas, were there multiple shootings within the city of Atlanta within days, sometimes weeks, or months?
Objection, relevance.
I
There's
have
multiple
one
shootings
basis.
going on in the
Hold on.
city.
I'm going to overrule. Let her finish, okay? And then I'll okay? All right, go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. Were there multiple shootings within the city of Atlanta?
Yeah.
Objection on relevance.
I was going to say this to leading. Why don't you ask him what happened as a result of that, if he knows, if any?
After the murder of Donovan Thomas, and let me back up, were there any gang implications to the investigation? In other words, during your investigation and during your initial review of the file, was there any indication from the information that you had within the file that the murder was gang related?
Yes.
And what gangs were alleged to have been involved?
Englewood family, that was the gang to which Mr. Donovan Thomas was a member, a high-ranking member. And the other gang was YSL, or Young Slime Life, to which Mr. Williams was a member.
Did you gain knowledge?
I'm going to object to that answer. Speculation, and after to be stricken.
I'm going to overrule the objection. What's your objection?
It's a legal conclusion. Criminal street gang is a legally defined term, has to be determined by 12 people from the city.
That may be in front of a jury, but this is the district attorney's investigation. I'm going to overrule your objection.
In your honor, so just so I'm clear, we are speaking just in layman's terms when we say gang at this moment, not in legal terms.
I'm still going to overrule your objection, okay? Thank you.
And during the weeks and months following Donovan Thomas's murder, did you have information that led you to believe that a series of retaliatory shootings between YSL and Englewood family took place across the city of Atlanta?
I'm going to object because it calls for hearsay.
Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, the defendant, Shannon Stillwell, has alleged an intentional delay on the part of the state. What led us to further our investigation, and what information we had?
Goes to conduct?
Yes.
All right, I must overrule the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Did you have information that led you to believe that a series of retaliatory shootings between YSL and Englewood family happened after Donovan Thomas was murdered?
Yes, there were cases where the victims were identified as YSL or Englewood family, and the shooters were also identified as YSL or Englewood family. And commonly, the shooters would generally be in the rival gang. I don't want to say there were no cases that involved the same members of the same gang shooting at each other, but primarily it was opposing gangs that were shooting at each other. The participants that were identified were opposing gangs. Those two gangs specifically, yes.
And during that time, did you and the Fulton County District Attorney's Office gang unit work closely with the Atlanta Police Department in an effort to solve the murder of Donovan Thomas, as well as find out whether or not those series of shootings were related, in fact, to the murder of Donovan?
The gang unit, the office's gang unit, I believe they were in consultation with Detective Thorpe, but I don't recall speaking with Detective Thorpe prior to him obtaining warrants for the arrest of the four men that he originally charged.
And that is before the arrest of the persons that were originally charged. I'm speaking of during the months in the year 2015, 2016, did you obtain more information that led you to believe that the murder of Donovan Thomas was gang-related?
Right. Well, yeah, I would routinely consult with Detective Tyrone Dennis with the Atlanta Police Department. He also worked very, very closely on the murder case and, alongside Detective Jim Thorpe Jr.
And were there incidents, shooting incidents that took place, and other incidents that took place that involved members of the alleged offending gang or YSL?
Yes, either, as I said, the victim was identified as being in one gang or the other. The shooters are identified as being in the opposite gang. There were shell casings that, when placed under microscopes and the tool mark on the back of the casing was compared to various incidents, they would find that similar guns, or the same guns, I should say, were used in these various incidents, which could possibly indicate that the same participants were involved.
And did you prepare a supplemental report to the case file that you have been given by Detective Thorpe in order to outline the investigation that you conducted in this case between the time that you received it and November 13, 2018?
Yes.
I'm showing to you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 1.
Yeah, Ms. Love, we're going to just use the next exhibit in order. So what's that, Ms. Rosenweiser?
11. Would the court like for me to then label it State's Exhibit?
State's 11. Yes, ma'am. If you wouldn't mind, please.
I sure will. I'm showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 11. SS. Would you take a look at it? In your honor, I will, at the end of this tendering of this exhibit, ask that the court allow me to tender a digital copy of this as evidence. Under seal.
Okay. Yes, I've looked at State's Exhibit 11.
Does State's Exhibit 11 contain the supplemental report that you prepared outlining and detailing the investigation that you conducted up until November 13th of 2018?
It does, but as you can see, I brought a copy of my report to the stand with me anyway, and it looks like there may be a page missing from this one because my report has a page that only has about 2 sentences on it, but so this may be a page short, basically.
And
Just, Your Honor, just Sudi Shah, the other story, please be provided a copy of the report that he.
Oh, never mind. There it is. Okay.
If it was, or?
I think he just testified that he's missing some sentences, so we just appreciate we get a copy of whatever he's actually doing.
He would be required to update that particular as part of continuing discovery. So to the extent, Ms. Love, you have not done that, go ahead and do so, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Deputy Sprinkle, would you please clarify for the court whether or not the page you were referencing is contained within State's Exhibit 11?
It is. You just turn the page over. It turns out it was facing the wrong way. So no, that's my full report.
Thank you. Your Honor, the state tender State's Exhibit 11, and with the court's permission, I would like to enter evidence digitally under seal.
Okay. So granted.
Your Honor, I object.
And Your Honor.
Basis? Is this part of the order that I entered before?
No, it's not.
Why do you want to enter it under seal, madam?
Only because it contains information, personal information about witnesses. The defense has been provided this report on August 8th, I believe, 2022 in its entirety. I am happy to let defense counsel look at it, review it, and compare it to their copy of the discovery that has been previously served.
Okay.
My issue is not with under seal per se.
But then I'm going to seal it then, okay?
No, it's not. My issue is admitting we're having a.
Well, okay. No, but you've made it an issue for the purposes of your speedy trial demand.
Correct.
So they're introducing as part of what they, as if I understand it, given the factors, is that what they did and the reason for the delay. Is that what you're doing, Ms. Love?
Yes.
So I mean, so that's why they're introducing it for that limited purpose. So
With all due respect, Your Honor, he can testify to what he did.
he just did, but in terms of if the case goes up on appeal, then of course the appellate court will have an opportunity to take a look at it.
For the record, I would just like to say that there's a lot more in that report than what he's testified to through live testimony. And we are objecting to conducting this hearing through proffer, which is essentially what we're doing.
Well, you got live testimony because you haven't even examined Mr. Sprinkle yet. So you certainly will be able to do that. But I'm going to admit it and seal it over your objection, States 11. Okay. And you'll be able to get with Ms. Love and her colleagues and take a look at it, the original, the discovery that you were provided back in August in relation to this particular document. And the state will need to, of course, disclose or unless you give you that particular evidence, anything discovery they haven't done so far. Okay.
And we will be able to cross-examine Mr. Sprinkle on all of the contents of that document that's being admitted as evidence. Is what I want to make sure we're able to do.
If they're introducing in evidence, yeah, you get to cross them about anything you want in terms of that particular document.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Deputy Sprinkle, did your investigation into the murder of Donovan Thomas cease entirely as of November 13th, 2018?
No, it didn't.
Would you just briefly encapsulate some of the additional investigations that you participated in or conducted between 2018 and May 2021?
Okay, so in 2019, there were at least 2 gang-related murders that involved the YSL Street Gang and the Englewood Family Street Gang. One was a February 23rd, 2019 murder involving a victim named Jamari Holmes and some YSL gang members named Damone Blaylock and Rodalius Ryan. I did a lot of work on that case. But for purposes of this hearing, I did a search warrant to Instagram for, I believe it was 4 or 5 accounts belonging to YSL gang members. Now, the reason why is that search warrant was for the accounts of the people that were participants in the February 23rd, 2019 murder of Jamari Holmes, of course. But with any search warrant that I did for concerning either one of those gangs, the murder of Donovan Thomas was always really just on the front of my mind because that.
Why?
It was the murder of Donovan Thomas that was essentially the primary genesis of the dispute between these 2 gangs that had claimed the lives of so many people and wounded countless others. So I always, when investigating any case.
Madam.
Your Honor, Deputy Sprinkle is talking about the investigation that he continued to conduct into the murder of Donovan Thomas and why it is that he did what he did during that investigation. If again, the state's intent is at issue, Mr. Sprinkle's steps taken during the investigation are reflective of the state's intent.
Okay. I'll overrule your objection, sir.
May I respond, Justice?
What is it you want to tell me? I mean, I've overruled the objection, so what more do you want me to know?
The state just proffered evidence, and I don't think that's correct, Your Honor.
Well, then cross-examine him when you got him on cross.
I understand.
So you're a little, you're a little early, okay? When you got him on cross, you can ask him these questions that you're not allowing them to answer right now. But it's relevant for the purposes of delay and the reason for delay. So can we move on from that? Okay.
In May of 2021, was the case involving the murder of Donovan Thomas turned over to a specific team in the district attorney's office as part of a broader investigation?
It was.
All right, and who was it turned over to?
Don Geary was the primary attorney on the case.
And is that case, or did that case form the basis for the indictment that the defendant sits on today, charged with both the murder of Donovan Thomas and the murder of Shamel Dreams?
Yes, yes, it is, because I at that point was consulting with my coworkers and recommending that we pursue an indictment on the murder case, at which point the others just determined that a team should be assembled because this case encompassed a lot more than just the murder of Donovan Thomas. So at that point, my case file was handed, but that was the first step, was my investigation into the murder of Donovan Thomas. And then I wasn't working very closely with them. I would of course answer their questions, of which they had many when they had them, but I wasn't in a room working with them on a daily basis. But from what I understood and what would eventually see when the indictment came out, was they were working on this vast RICO case.
And are you aware of a wiretap being used to gain information in furtherance of the investigation of this RICO case that you referenced just now?
Yeah, I drafted all the documents associated with it and performed the minimization procedures and reviewed periodically would spot review the work of the modders.
And was that in April 2022?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. April 2022, I think towards the end of that month, yes.
And did the investigation that took place between the time that you were given the file by Detective Thorpe and the time that this case was initially presented to the grand jury, form the basis for the indictment 22SC 183572?
Yes.
Thank you. Just one moment, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Deputy Sprinkle, between November 2018 and May 2021, did you work with any other prosecutors on this case or on the investigation involving the murder of Donovan Thomas?
Well,
did you at any time work with Deputy Kara Convery?
oh, yes. Deputy Kara Convery and I spoke about this case and exchanged information on a regular basis throughout the entirety of the investigation.
And where did Deputy Kara Convery work within the district attorney's office?
She was the head of the gang unit. I don't recall which year. I know Gabe Banks was the head right when the case came in. I believe you were the head of the gang unit at some point. And then Kara Convery, probably by 2019, she was the head of the gang unit.
Was there ever a time, Deputy Sprinkle, that you delayed this case to get a tactical advantage over the defendant, Shannon Stillwell?
No, I didn't want to delay the case at all.
And was this a case of average complexity?
No, this is an extremely complex case.
Just one moment, Your Honor. That's all that I have for now.
All right, Mr. Sharp, go ahead, sir.
Mr. Sprinkle, how are you doing today?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. As I understand it, your role in the DA's office is you receive a case file from APD.
Well, many times, most of the time actually from APD, but there are other agencies in Fulton County, of course.
And you work on that case file and bring it up, build it up for indictment if you feel that is warranted.
Correct.
Okay. But you did tell us that you are not the person who decides when to indict a case.
That's correct.
Who is that person?
Well, back in 2015, 2016,
Yes,
that would have been the District Attorney Paul Howard.
that was Mr. Howard. Decision-making power on when Shannon Stillwell would be indicted on the 2015 case.
Well, presumably all the way up until the last day of 2020. I believe that was the last day he was in office. I could be wrong about that, but it would have definitely been around that time.
And who took over that decision-making power in 2020?
The current DA, Fonnie Willis, and her her agents, people like myself and Adam Body and Pat Dutcher.
Okay. So when Ms. Love asked if you delayed the indictment to get a tactical advantage on Shannon Stillwell, it wasn't even your decision, was it?
That is correct. That is correct.
That question about choosing when to indict from 2015 to 2020 should be asked of Paul Howard, correct?
I cannot.
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis.
The question about whether or not the decision to indict should have been left to Paul Howard is not proper. It does not speak to Deputy Sprinkle's actions and steps that he took during this investigation in order to make sure that it was thoroughly vetted.
They tried to create the impression that Mr. Sprinkle's the one that called the shots, and he's clearly not. And now that I've asked him about it and it's clear he didn't, now it's irrelevant. They asked him if he delayed the indictment of Shannon Stillwell. I'm saying it was delayed and my client has been prejudiced.
Okay,
and I want to hear from the person who made that decision.
Well, it's one factor that I'll weigh, Mr. Short. So go ahead and move on. Because we've had another district attorney since then, and it's part of the overall investigation. So his response might be, I'm assuming it's correct, but certainly has to be looked at in terms of the continuum of other things that went on in this case. So, and I'm sure you're going to examine him about those.
Yes, Your Honor. And so starting in 2020, the decision making was DA Fonnie Willis.
2021, yes.
2021. All right. Okay. When was Shannon Stillwell charged in this case?
I believe it was September 2015.
Okay. If I suggested that was October 2015, would you dispute me on that?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. And would you dispute that he was arrested in October of 2015?
I'm quite sure it would have been around that time, the last quarter of 2015. Based on when I received the case file, that would be in line with that.
And he was placed in jail?
He was.
Okay. Now, my client, Mr. Stillwell, was charged in 2015, October 2015. Who else did you say was charged at that time?
Antonio Sledge, briefly, because his case was dismissed at the preliminary hearing.
Okay.
Kenneth Copeland and Demikian Garlington.
And that's the same Kenneth Copeland that is on the state's witness list?
Yes.
Okay. And it was Detective Thorpe of APD that made the decision to charge my client, Mr. Stillwell?
Yes.
And it was Detective Thorpe of APD who made the decision to charge Mr. Sumlin, Mr. Copeland, and Mr. Garlington?
Mr. Copeland, Mr. Garlington, I believe you meant to say Mr. Sledge?
Sledge, I'm sorry.
Yes, yes.
I said Sumlin instead of Sledge.
Yes.
And you're telling us that the decision to charge those 4 individuals was based on the word of Spencer Wright?
Well, for 3 out of 4 of them, if my memory serves correctly, it was essentially entirely based on Spencer Wright. Your client, there was a little bit more evidence.
And we're going to get to that, and I appreciate you bringing that up. So, but for the other 3, well, for all 4, a man named Spencer Wright claimed to be at the scene of the murder and named those people as being involved.
That's, yes.
And when Spencer Wright, are you aware of the circumstances that brought Spencer Wright into contact with Detective Thorpe to tell Detective Thorpe this?
Generally, yes.
Did Spencer Wright have pending charges?
Spencer Wright had been, if my memory serves correctly, I know that he didn't just show up to the precinct out of the goodness of his heart. He had been pulled over, if I remember correctly. During the traffic stop, he threw a gun away in the bathroom at the gas station. He lied about his name, and there was an investigator, Lakia Gaither, just happened to recognize him and reminded him of what his name actually was. So he was, so he had a firearm, and I believe he had a probation violation warrant. So he was taken into custody contemporaneously with his statement.
And so we're clear, you wouldn't dispute that Spencer Wright had a motive to lie?
Yes.
That would be correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Spencer Wright actually came in at the same time that he named these 4 individuals as being involved in this murder and gave police a false name?
He did at first, and one of them, like I said, just happened to know him. And this is all from memory, but I'm pretty sure this is correct.
So he lied about his name?
He did.
And the police knew this?
Yes, they did.
And they took his word on who to arrest on a murder?
That's what happened, yes.
Okay. And through your investigation, you would agree that 3 of the 4 defendants in this case have changed since then regarding the 2015 shooting?
3 out of the 4, okay, so first of all, what do you mean by change, and which 3 defendants are we talking about?
There was 4 people that were charged in October of 2015 by Detective Thorpe. 3 of those 4 people are no longer charged.
Oh, I understand. In other words, we ultimately indict a different set of people than were ultimately charged by the police. Is that your question?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. We did indict Shannon Stillwell, aka Shannon Jackson, who's your client, but we did not charge Mr. Copeland, Mr. Garlington, or Mr. Sledge with the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Well, let's be clear. They were charged.
They were charged by the police, yes.
And they were arrested and put in jail.
They were, yes.
Based on the word of Spencer Wright.
That is correct.
Who lied about his name?
He did.
And in those 3 people's place that were eventually released, 3 new people have been charged.
That's, well, yes, 4 people actually, but yes.
Okay. 3 new people and Mr. Stillwell.
Yes.
So essentially what we're saying in layman's terms is Detective Thorpe added 250.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance and just unnecessary. Detective Thorpe batted 250.
I'm sustaining objection.
So you have your report, correct?
I do.
All right. And your report is approximately 100 pages long?
140, I believe.
140. Okay. And you began working in January of 2016?
That's correct, yes.
And on page 2 of those 140, well, let me back up. I'm sorry. Almost the first order of business in this report is your concerns about Spencer Wright.
Correct. That is how my investigation began.
Because you were doing a thorough investigation and you looked
at the video and noticed the man who was saying he witnessed the event was not where he said he was?
Correct.
And so your report, this 140-page report, begins with discussion of the video and Spencer Wright.
Yes.
On page 2 of the report, in the first paragraph, you talk about Detective Thorpe finding probable cause for these 4 individuals that are originally charged.
Yes.
And then you say, Kenneth Copeland, Demikian Garlington, and Antonio Sledge, or I'm sorry, you say Copeland, Garlington, and Sledge consisted almost entirely of the statement of Mr. Spencer Wright, correct?
Correct.
All right. You went on to say, with respect, or to write, with respect to Mr. Jackson, Mr. Wright also implicated him in the statement summarized below. However, there was another witness named Quindarius Zachary that also implicated Mr. Jackson.
That is correct.
Okay. So on page 2 of the report, you were saying that there was an additional witness against, when I said Mr. Jackson, you were calling Mr. Jackson report, but it's my client, Mr. Stillwell.
Yeah, back then he was known as Shannon Jackson. That's why I say Shan Jackson, AKA Shan Stillwell, or vice versa.
All right. You, as the investigator, did not have the same doubts or concerns about Mr. Jackson's case or Mr. Stillwell's case than you did with the other 3 defendants, based on additional witness testimony, correct?
Well, I mean, I at least had some evidence that he committed the murder. Yes.
Okay. All right. And just to be clear, in January 2016, when you're working on this case and throughout your investigation, Shannon Stillwell is still presumed innocent in jail.
He was in jail for about 250 days, I believe, on the murder charge before he was transferred, I want to say, to the Department of Corrections on unrelated matter.
Okay.
But yes, he was in jail, yes.
And he didn't bond out on this case until, on the 2015 case, until October of 2018, isn't that true?
I recall, if I remember correctly, he was booked into the jail on October 23rd and made bond the next day because he had obviously gotten a bond long before then because he had been in jail over 90 days on the murder.
Right, but he was in jail for 3 years.
On the murder?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe he was jailed for 3 years. I believe he was in jail for about 250 days on the murder.
Okay, well, we'll say 250 days. I mean, that's a substantial amount of time, correct?
Legally, it's subjective as to what's substantial.
Okay, well, you wouldn't want an innocent man locked in jail for that long.
Objection, argumentative.
I sustain this to form.
Thank you,
I
Judge.
sustain it.
Okay, are you an ethical prosecutor?
Yes.
And for the record, I believe Mr. Sprinkle is. Okay. If you felt that there was no case against Mr. Stillwell like you thought about the others, you would presumably have done something to get his release, correct?
Right. What I would have done is I would have told his defense attorneys that essentially there was no evidence, which is what I did with the other co-defendants. So.
Okay.
Right. But with Mr. Stillwell, the absence of evidence wasn't quite as stark.
Okay. And so you didn't take any proactive steps to seek the release of Mr. Stillwell like you did the others?
No.
How long has, to your knowledge, are you familiar with the internal workings of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office?
Pretty familiar. I've been working there for over a decade, so.
How long has the Fulton County District Attorney's Office been investigating YSL?
I can't speak to what the gang unit was doing at around this time. They were in a section of the office to which I didn't have access. Now, if I knocked on the door, if they were there, they would generally let me in, but I didn't just have unfettered access to their area such that I could wander in at any given point. So they were by design closed off from the rest of the office.
Well, certainly you were aware generally of whether there was as you were working this Donovan Thomas case, whether there was an active investigation into YSL.
Yes, there was. And so to answer your question, to the best of my knowledge, as far as I knew, or as far as I can remember, the investigation into YSL really started with the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Okay, so 2015. And what about investigations into Jeffrey Williams?
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
I'm alleging that this has been a strategic decision to withhold the prosecution of Shannon Stillwell, who they claim to have had a case with or against, a solid case against since 2015. And I want to know why they waited 8 years to bring this
Well, then
case.
why don't you ask him?
Well, I want to know what investigation.
The objection. Go ahead and ask him, please.
To your knowledge, how long have you had an investigation ongoing, when I say you, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, against Jeffrey Williams?
For me personally, it would have been around, I want to say April of 2016 when I found out that he rented the car that was utilized in the drive-by shooting.
Okay. What about, not you personally, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office?
That I can't answer. As far as I know, I don't know. I have no idea. If there were any other investigations regarding Mr. Jeffrey Williams, I don't know about them.
Well, could you answer if you knew, do you believe that you were the first person to begin an investigation into Jeffrey Williams, or do you believe that there was already investigations into Jeffrey Williams?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance into investigations regarding Jeffrey Williams.
I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you have discussions with Paul Howard about the Donovan Thomas case?
Yes.
How often?
Well, there would obviously, every few months, actually. Maybe there were times it would actually be more often than that. It was definitely not one or two. I can tell you that. It was more than that.
Was he familiar with the facts of the case as alleged?
Yes.
Would Mr. Paul Howard have had access to the gang unit of the district attorney's office that you did not have unfettered access to?
I would presume yes. I guess I never asked him, nor did he ever tell me. It never came up, but given that he was the head of the entire office, I would assume that he had access to every room of the office. But I'm only assuming.
Do leaders of different units within the office meet with each other?
Yes, yes.
Is there coordination between units in the district attorney's office?
Yes, of course.
Was there coordinations between units back in 2015?
Yes.
Could there have been discussions that you were not privy to about these matters?
I'm sure.
Okay. Mr. Sprinkle, you have, is it fair to say that you largely have an investigative function within the district attorney's office?
Yes, for the most part.
But you all are also an attorney.
I am.
You have a bar code.
I do.
You're familiar with the laws of, the rules of evidence in Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. You would agree that we're in here today, not on a murder case, but a large RICO case, which one part of it has an alleged murder.
I am familiar with the indictment that is before the court that is being litigated right now. And I am familiar that the primary or the first count or couple of counts is a RICO case. As far as I'm concerned, I was primarily, if not really exclusively, concerned with the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Correct. But you are aware that this indictment that we're all in here today involves more than just the 2015 shooting of Donovan Thomas.
I'm aware of that, yes.
Okay. And there are 4 people that you chose to charge and indict. Well, we'll get to that. There's 4 people that you advised the state to indict for the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Well, I believe there are 5, and I was definitely part of meetings regarding the indictment. But again, this was really Don Geary that was leading the charge on who to indict for the murder. Now, was I influential? Of course, okay. But I wasn't the one who ultimately made that decision. But
you weren't the one to make the decision. When was this case ready to take to the grand jury? The alleged murder of Donovan Thomas.
Was well, it wasn't an alleged murder. He absolutely was murdered. It was May of 2022.
Oh, it wasn't ready?
No. When was the case presented to the grand jury?
When was it ready to take to the grand jury?
I can't, again, because Don Geary was the attorney that was working on that, and I wasn't. Well, I guess it was ready when we presented it, right? I would assume.
Well, that's when your office chose to present it.
Yes.
I'm asking when it was ready.
I don't, you would have to ask Don Geary that.
Okay.
Because as you said, this is more just the murder of Donovan Thomas is a big RICO case. So
I'm aware of that, but I'm very interested in when the singular incident, the January 2015 shooting of Donovan Thomas was ready to present to the grand jury.
I would just have to say May of 2022, unless you can define the word ready with a little more specificity.
That's when your office decided to present it, is your answer.
Right, correct.
Mr. Sharp, hold on one second.
You received credit for each of those days as to the new value offense, which got 10 do 3, went off to prison, came back, found it out next day. One time he was only in there that I'm aware of. My information was. I don't know if he was arrested, he was in jail for those things. Okay. So I wouldn't necessarily. I can argue the booking against him. Yes, I received credit for every one of those days towards his sentence. Those are the crimes. This right here. Mm-hmm. He's also arrested for drug charges. No, I can't help you with that. I would just ask. Do what you can. Like, no. I'm not doing it.
All right, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court once again. You're aware of the rules of evidence in Georgia,
Yes,
okay, that dictate what is admissible at trial?
that's correct.
Okay. You are aware that the rules of evidence are different for a RICO case, correct?
That's correct.
You're aware that typically in a criminal case, quote unquote, bad character evidence is not admissible against the defendant.
With exceptions governed by 404B.
Right. And 404B, propensity evidence would not be admissible under 404B.
No, it's motive, intent, knowledge, plan or scheme, preparation, absence of mistake or opportunity.
You're aware of the fact that my client, Mr. Stillwell, because this is a RICO case, is being tried for 2 murders at the same time, correct?
I am familiar with the second murder from earlier this year, yes.
You're also aware that because this is a RICO case that was indicted in 2022, my client is accused of over a dozen overt acts that are listed in the indictment.
I am generally aware of the format of the indictment. I haven't studied it. If you're telling me that, then I'm sure that's true.
You would agree that oftentimes if people are simultaneously accused of 2 separate crimes, they receive different trials for different crimes, correct? Different allegations.
Well, it would depend on if it was, for example, a crime spree based, temporal proximity being very close that the incidents are almost considered one continuous incident, then you may indict them together. But particularly given the length of time between the 2 incidents, you would generally indict them separately, correct?
Okay, so, and you're aware that the other murder that is alleged against my client is from 2022?
Correct.
You would agree that that would not have temporal proximity, correct?
No, I would, no, if these were just 2 completely independent murders, I would not put the 2015 murder on the same indictment as the 2022 murder. They'd be 2 different murders under normal circumstances.
As a lawyer, can you see where that would be prejudicial against my client?
Well, yes, I suppose if you were to have 2 murders on the indictment, then the jury would be told initially that there was a finding of probable cause on not 1, but 2 different murders. And so I can understand that.
What about evidence being presented and discussed about the actions of other individuals for things that occurred years after 2015? Would those typically come in for a murder that happened in 2015?
Well, it would depend. If it was a gang-related murder, maybe. Because, when there's a gang charge that's placed on somebody, then there's a lot more evidence that can come in related to the street gang.
What about if your office decided to indict this 2015 incident in a timely manner and didn't wait till 2022? Would this case have already been tried?
Objection as to speculative and argumentative.
I stand the objection.
Are you, through your investigation, did you come across a gentleman by the name of Termon Stillwell?
I did. Yeah, Detective Thorpe and I spoke with him, I believe, in early 2016.
Okay, and Termon Stillwell, who found Termon Stillwell?
I believe it was Detective Thorpe. It wasn't me, so it must have been Detective Thorpe. And I don't recall how he learned about Termon Stillwell.
Ever ask Detective Thorpe about the circumstances on how he found Termon Stillwell?
Objection, Your Honor, as to the relevance.
Yeah, that's irrelevant, sir.
I mean, this is the investigation we've been talking
Hold on,
about.
Mr. Sprinkle, what's the?
This is the investigation we've been talking about that we admitted this report as part of, and I'm asking about the investigation. I'm cross-examining the investigation.
Oh, the objection. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead and answer it.
So if I remember correctly, he was in the Fulton County Jail. Well, we interviewed him at APD, but he was brought over from the Fulton County Jail. Contemporaneous with his arrest, he told, from what I remember, he definitely told somebody with the Atlanta Police Department that he had information on the murder. And if I remember correctly, it was the members of the Apex unit. They may have been the ones that arrested him. But at any rate, he said something to some police officer that he knew something about the murder. That got back to Detective Thorpe. So Detective Thorpe told me about it. And then Detective Thorpe transported him from the Fulton County Jail to APD where we interviewed him.
Did you ever talk to the member of the Apex unit to confirm that they were the ones that had first contact with Tremont Stillwell?
I don't recall.
And Tremont Stillwell, he was in jail for what?
Family violence battery, I believe.
Okay. Felony?
I don't remember if he was a recidivist or not. It may have been. I just don't remember.
And who was he accused of battering, beating?
I think it was his wife, if I remember correctly.
What's her name?
That I don't recall.
Would it be Vanetta Guffey?
That's it.
Okay. And so Mr. Stillwell, Tremont Stillwell, let me be clear. Tremont Stillwell came to your attention, and did you have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Stillwell?
I did.
And when was this?
March 22nd, 2016.
So we're still back in 2016.
We are.
Okay. And did Mr. Tremont Stillwell claim to know my client Shannon Stillwell?
Yes, I believe he said that they were relatives. They were related. Like Mr. Stillwell, Tremont Stillwell, said he was his cousin, if I remember correctly.
Did you ever confirm that there was any family relation?
Well, apart from their last name being the same, or one of Mr. Stillwell's, Shannon Stillwell's last names, because he was known as either Jackson or Stillwell. I mean, even back in 2016, I knew that was one of his aliases. I was never completely clear as to which name was actually his name, Shannon Jackson or Shannon Stillwell.
Okay, but let's just benefit of the doubt, it's Shannon Stillwell. Did you ever independently, other than they had the same last name, confirm that there was any relation between the two?
I don't remember.
But Tremont Stillwell claimed that he was Shannon's uncle.
I thought it was cousin.
Cousin, okay.
Yes.
And Tremont Stillwell was in jail at the time that he met with you guys, correct? I know that you brought him over to APD headquarters, but he had pending charges.
That is correct.
Okay. And he gave you some information he claimed could be used against Shannon Stillwell.
That is correct.
Okay. And he claimed that back in 2015, Shannon Stillwell ran up to him while he was walking with his wife in the park.
That is correct.
Did he indicate which park?
I don't recall the park. I just recall it being August, or it was sometime during the fall of 2015 that Tremont Stillwell, as he strolled through the park with his wife, Miss Guffey, he came upon Shannon Stillwell, who complained of getting shot at some point in the very recent past, and that the reason for this was that he had participated in the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Okay. And according to Mr. Stillwell, according to Tremont Stillwell, Shannon Stillwell said that Kenneth Copeland, the state's witness, was also involved.
That I don't. Yeah, actually, I think he did say that. Now that you mentioned it. Yes.
Okay. And if Tremont Stillwell was to be believed, that would be a confession coming out of Shannon Stillwell's mouth.
A third-party confession. Yes, sir.
Okay. And of course, as we saw with Mr. Wright, Mr. Stillwell, Tremont Stillwell, had pending charges at this time.
He did.
And as an investigator, you wanted to corroborate what Termon Stillwell was claiming that he had witnessed.
That's correct.
And you were also aware that there were many street rumors going around at that time.
There were, yes.
Okay. So you sought to corroborate the statement of Termon Stillwell.
That is correct.
And you decided to call in Miss Vanetta Guffey to talk to her about the situation, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And speaking of Vanetta Guffey was important because she was the person that Termon Stillwell claimed was his wife.
That's correct.
And that Termon Stillwell was claimed was present when Shannon Stillwell supposedly made this statement, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you were able to speak with Miss Vanetta Guffey, correct?
Yes, I believe, I definitely remember speaking with some female after that Termon Stillwell interview, and it was related to that interview, and it didn't go very well.
Okay, now, Mr. Sprinkle, I want you to know that I have no objection, of course, subject to the judge's rulings, to you referring to your notes to answer these questions.
I'm actually referring to the Exhibit 11 to
your report.
Right.
And I have no objection to that at all. I want, so we're clear on this. What page are you on?
Well, the pages aren't numbered, but I'm on the page that starts with on May 11, 26. Oh, well, it just so happens I'm on the right page.
All right, cool.
All right, so it was on May 11, 2016 when Detective Thorpe and I interviewed Vanetta Guffey on the 7th floor of my office, the DA's office.
Okay. And you said it was you and who that interviewed her?
Detective Thorpe, Jim Thorpe Jr. with the Atlanta Police Department.
And how did you get Miss Guffey to come to your office?
I don't recall. I believe if I had to, hold on, let me see.
Did you tell her it was about Termon Stillwell's case about him beating her?
I believe so. That sounds right.
Okay, so is it, and I'm not suggesting it's illegal for you to do this, but you misled her about why you wanted to speak.
Well, I mean, as a practical matter, I mean, that it was a legitimate area of inquiry as well. She was a victim on a case, but, we didn't want to tell her about the murder because she didn't even know that she was part of the murder investigation yet. So to get her into the office, we thought it would be better to just not tell her about that part and rather just tell her about the case in which she already knew she was a witness.
Okay, fair enough. And you eventually told her you wanted to speak to her about this case.
That's correct.
And did you tell her that Termon had said that she may have witnessed something?
I did.
Do you remember exactly how you worded it? I shouldn't say exactly. Can you paraphrase how you worded it if you don't remember exactly?
I asked her about Shannon and asked her if she knew a Shannon. She said that she did, that she considered him her little nephew. And she also said she wasn't fond of Termon Stillwell because, going back to the case in which she was a victim, because of him beating on her. At the time of the interview, Mr. Termon Stillwell was still in the Fulton County Jail. All I remember is that when we brought up Shannon, her mood, she was relatively pleasant at the beginning of the interview. And, after we discussed the battery and moved on to Shannon, she was, her mood changed. Shannon Stillwell, your client, her mood changed rather dramatically. In fact, it culminated in her storming out of the room and basically running out of the office.
Right. And she made it clear to you that you shouldn't believe a word that Termon Stillwell says.
She called him a liar.
Right.
As she stormed out, I believe she called him a liar.
He's unreliable.
Right. That's what she said.
And you don't dispute that Ms. Guffey knows Mr. Termon Stillwell very well.
No, she knew him pretty well. She was a victim on a family violence battery case, so you have to know somebody pretty well to be considered a victim of a family violence offense.
Okay.
Mr. Sharp, before you pose your next question, how much longer do you think you'll have?
I was about to ask like 3 more questions.
Oh.
Unlike Mr. Menendez, I think I'm being...
Who's 2 is not really 2?
Right.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I'll be the judge of that, okay? This is number 1 coming up right here, okay?
Pressure on. Mr. Sprinkle, did Ms. Guffey indicate to you that she was not... Did she ever indicate to you that she had heard Shannon Stillwell say anything about a murder?
No. Without even refreshing my recollection, I mean, the interview ended pretty abruptly after she realized that we were asking about Shannon Stillwell. It wouldn't have even got, she was no longer participating in the interview, essentially. Towards the end, I was trying to ask her questions as she ran away from me, so.
She told you that she doesn't know anything about the statement that Shannon Stillwell allegedly made to Termon Stillwell.
That's correct.
That Termon Stillwell claimed that she witnessed.
That's correct.
Okay. Are you aware of where Miss Vanetta Guffey is now?
Well, I've been told, and this I haven't independently verified it, but as of yesterday, it's my understanding she's deceased.
Okay.
She didn't die yesterday. I learned about it yesterday.
Right. I beg the court's indulgence just briefly. Mr. Sprinkle, you, as part of your investigations, do you stay abreast to what's going on at 901 Rice Street?
Well, yes, particularly with respect to the jail calls.
Okay. Are you aware that there have been multiple attacks on my client, Shannon Stillwell, since, and when I say attacks, stabbings, he's been incarcerated this year?
This year?
Yes.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Are you aware of multiple attacks on Shannon Stillwell while he's been incarcerated?
Objection, Your Honor, as to relevance, as to whether or not the defendant has been attacked.
He's been incarcerated for a long time, and it's certainly relevant that he's being attacked.
I'll overrule the objection.
I remember a time in late 2015, which would have been around the time he was arrested. He was actually a witness on a murder case. And he was in the same area of the jail as some rival gang members. That's about all. And that there was an issue with that, but that's about all I remember. I don't remember anything about him being attacked.
Are you aware that he's on 23-hour lockdown for his own safety at this time?
No, I didn't know about that.
I don't have anything else, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sprinkle. Thank you.
All right, Madam, Ms. Love.
Thank you, Judge.
It's about 1:30. Can we take a comfort lunch lunch break to 2:15? And then we'll resume at that point in time, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. We're going to be recessed until 2:15, and we'll come back at that point in time.
I am not sleeping. I am out here working. Look, see, I'm working. I'm out here working. I have a twin up right now. Yeah, I was thinking about going down there. I think I am going down. I'm going down there. I'm going down there. I'm going downtown. I just got to get some warm clothes on. I told my husband I want to go down there. Oh, wait, y'all. HN is on. Let's go field trip, y'all. Field trip. HN. Let's get out of here. Bye.